And we are back. Couch Company Podcast. I'm John. With me, as always, Tyler.
Hey.
And
here.
you are here. Special guest, Michael.
Hello, hello.
Did you know John wrote this song?
This song.
Yeah, note by note.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
You know, that's what that good education gets you.
Right.
For,
Man,
you know?
it was a pretty expensive song, but we did write it. We do have Michael here with us today, and it is still March, which means March Madness is going on. And you were telling us a little bit about your bracket, but why don't you either complain or brag about it? I feel like it's one or the other, right? Like, there's never any middle ground.
Everybody feels either really good or really bad halfway through the first round.
Humble brag.
This is my first bracket in probably 3-4 years, I would say, at least. And I felt a little nervous about it. Changed it a few times, but so far I would say so good. I'm not here to say, I picked Arizona losing in the first round.
That was rough.
It's better than, Biden's bracket had, I think, Arizona winning it all. And he published it late in the middle of the game, and then they lost.
They still lost.
So,
They're like, that's okay, Mr. President. It still counts.
yeah, it was.
And then they lose.
Do you think he actually has a bracket? Do you think he's just
Or
like,
if it was a staffer?
exactly. Is it actually him?
They always make, like Obama did the same thing where they'll
Okay.
do a bracket.
Sure.
But I think Biden's like, I know this school. I like this school. I'm going to pick this school.
I guess, man. My whole thing is like, Obama played basketball. Like, I can go on Twitter and find footage of him like shooting hoops. The only thing I can find of Biden is falling upstairs.
There's got to be a video of Joe Biden.
I think there was a silent film of him shooting in a wicker basket.
There was no basket. It was just
true. Oh boy. So, anyways, there's this really interesting thing on DraftKings. One of the pools is an anti-bracket, and whoever has the worst bracket wins $100,000. So I put that in. Arizona losing
every upset.
Exactly.
It's like that's.
But you have to pick some like upsets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How does that work? Like, it's just person that gets the farthest or like the closest to what actually happens.
A normal bracket works where like if you get one right in the first round, it's worth X number of points, right?
Okay.
And then every round's worth so many points, and then like if you guess the winner, that's the most points. So you get a total score at the end. This is the lowest score wins.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And you get like bonuses if you get the matchups right. So like if you pick like consecutive matchups, there's typically a small bonus to it. So it's like one of those things where it's like if you had a team going pretty far to like Sweet 16, Elite 8, and they lose in the first round like Arizona did, that breaks a lot of people's brackets. I think I saw right before this that there's only, I think 180 or maybe 180 perfect brackets out of 20 million left. So just to show you, like, and everyone at that point, like, those got to be people just throwing random brackets out there.
That's me. I need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you should have joined it. It was a straightforward thing, you know.
Is Warren Buffett still did a thing where if someone gets a perfect bracket, it'll give them $1 million or $1 billion or something?
Is Warren Buffett alive?
Yes, he's still alive. Yeah,
right.
I don't know about that, but I know that ESPN does, like, if you win on most of those like sites, if you have a perfect bracket, they'll give you like $1 million or something. Like, it's something like that.
Totally not worth it, by the way. The odds of getting a perfect bracket,
better
worth
than
way
the
more.
Powerball, right?
What?
Getting a perfect bracket, that's got to be better than the odds of a Powerball?
I want to say it's not.
No, the power.
I want to say it's probably comparable.
It's close, I would guess. Yeah, because you think like a 1 in 2 chance, but to get every single one of those coin flips right, and then
there's so many
Yeah.
factors in a 64-man bracket. Isn't that like 64 exclamation point?
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is how many numbers are there? It's like 0 to 99.
there's
And you have to get 5 of those
16
correct.
4 16 seed teams, so 64 teams.
Yeah.
So
No,
32.
right. But for like the Powerball, does it go up to 99? Is it like you have to pick 5 numbers between 0 and 99 or 1 and 99 or whatever?
No.
Yeah.
Is there 99 numbers? I don't think so, but
I think there is because it's two
But
digits, right?
But do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah,
so then
yeah.
it's like, okay, so really you're doing like 50-50s, and you know what the 60, like, you know what, like, effectively the first numbers are.
mm-hmm.
And then it's just how those numbers kind of trickle in.
Yeah, but you don't,
I don't know.
actually know.
Right, but I'm saying you know the matchup, right?
Yeah.
Like what you would know how the matchup,
there
like
are
the very first
tangible
one. Yeah, so
things
like
that
you have
can,
you have a starting point
Sure.
of like, okay, well, I know that these 2 teams are playing and like these 2 teams are playing.
You're probably right. It's probably
literally just flip. I would literally do that. It would just be, here it is, flip a coin for each one.
Well, funny that you mentioned it. I actually know someone from work who did a March Madness bracket that way. He literally just flipped a nickel and picked his bracket and won with like all these basketball aficionados. So what does he do come fantasy football season?
Yeah.
He basically has a printout of like the ADPs, and he basically flipped a coin to determine who he drafted on each one.
That's insane.
And
I mean, that's awesome.
Please tell me he won again.
I don't think he won the fantasy football one. I think he one of the key players got hurt or something. You know, with that, there's a way more difference than, but he called it his lucky nickel, and he took it in, like it was in his wallet for like a full year after he won the March Madness bracket with like all these people who were like super into basketball.
I want to ask this guy why a nickel. Such a specific.
I think he could only find a nickel, so like no one cares change anymore.
I haven't seen a nickel in like 20 years.
And the funniest thing is he had to borrow the nickel from somebody. So
and
the nickel was ended up being that person's demise. So.
That was big rip. Have you seen a nickel? I don't think they exist anymore.
Who's on a nickel? Jefferson?
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson, yeah.
The third president.
Are we kicking him out? Is he
of what?
So Susan B. Anthony's going on the 20. Someone tell me that?
No, Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman.
That was a
Susan B. Anthony. Are you out of your mind?
Susan B. Anthony.
We're talking like
what
news that's like 5 years old.
Susan B. Anthony.
Oh, she did the flag.
She did the.
She did the flag.
What is wrong with you,
dude? I don't know. I
thought you were good at history.
There's a limited number of.
Quick, Pokemon number 63.
Oh, I can't. So I did. He asked me, okay, number 18, and then just by like, okay, well, the first 9 are the starters, and then you do the next 3 or whatever. Yeah. I got it.
It was Pidgeotto.
It was Pidgeot.
Pidgeot.
Oh, okay.
Well, because he was, okay, for context, Tyler was like, last episode, go listen to last episode, by the way. Last episode, Tyler was like, I wish I could just zap my brain and not like get rid of all my useless knowledge. And like the example he gave was like he memorized all the Pokemon numbers or something.
Yeah, like all the Pokemon in order, like the first 150 or whatever, like that. It's like
151.
Well, you don't need all of that.
What do you mean?
Right?
Whoa. We need to unpack that.
I don't.
We need to unpack that.
I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
The original 150.
150.
If you get any of the strategy guides, the games, everything like that, Mew's not in there.
What number is Mew?
151.
But was Mew introduced in?
It's in there. So it has a sprite in the blue and yellow and stuff, 2 completely different sprites. But it was like a Japanese thing that you had to like go to an event or something to get it. So now the only way to get it is if you have a Game Shark, take a Pokemon, and it basically changes that Pokemon to Mew. So like for mine, whenever I got it in like blue and yellow or whatever, it was like a Nidoran or something, changed it to Mew, and then you just teach them all your HMs because you have to have that Pokemon that just
because it's rare doesn't mean it doesn't count.
Okay, fine. 151 accounts, whatever.
But like what was like the first game where you could actually see Mew?
That's what I mean. You could see it in blue and yellow,
but you had to like like you said,
or be part of the event,
crack the code.
Yeah, but like it was an actual thing. Like what I'm saying is like the sprite there, like it was programmed into the game. You saw it.
Do you think that like saved game would be worth a lot of money?
No, not at all.
You don't think so?
No, because you can get it's a Game Shark thing.
Yeah, but you can only manufacture it. Isn't there like unique moves that only Mew knows?
I don't think so.
And honestly, I would say the new Pokemon's kind of ruined that because there's so many different ways to get like,
everything.
Like
they were giving away
legendaries and Mews with like all the top stats, shiny Mews, everything like that.
Like the new one, don't you get like a legendary right off the bat or something? That's what I heard.
Yeah, you get a little motorcycle.
Yeah.
Motorcycle.
It's basically just like a transport vehicle for
What's your favorite Pokemon game? Of all time.
Ooh.
I love how we got from Susan B. Anthony
to Pokemon.
She was the first Pokemon trainer.
What I'm saying is, Harriet Tubman, is she going on the nickel and the $20 bill? Okay, now we'll circle back to your Pokemon game. Sorry, I just wanted to close that out.
For me, I would probably say Soul Silver. And then maybe Ruby. Ruby's a close second. Like
when was Soul Silver?
It was before or right after Pokemon Ruby came out, I believe. Where they brought back, it was like the original Gen 1, like first Kanto region, and then you had a second region. It was the first game to introduce that. Whereas like you had 2 full regions.
Well, Soul Silver is the remake of
Silver.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like Lugia.
Yeah, so I guess you could say Soul Silver might be cheating a little bit, but
I mean, I get
No,
it.
it's-
Silver or Ruby, if you want to go the original. Soul Silver, I think, did everything that Silver did and more.
Best remake of all time
The Pokemons
for
or
any
just
game.
any game.
Any game.
I don't know
Have we
about
done
any game.
top 5 remakes yet?
No.
We
No.
should.
We
should
live
do
in the
that.
era
That's a good one.
of remakes.
Yeah,
I know.
You know,
So we need to wait like till this decade's over.
That is a good one. I didn't want to talk about this, but I'm just going to because you gave me the segue. Like, Resident Evil is pretty okay. Like, IGN just gave it a 10.
That's good,
Yeah,
but you don't think it's a 10?
I don't like that Resident Evil game. It's weird because
You didn't
it
like the
feels,
original 4?
It was, I think, overhyped. I put it on the same level as like a Grand Theft Auto 5 type of thing.
Okay, wow.
But
Wait, this is
it just felt
God.
stiffer, and I don't think it looks as good as some of 2. But then other parts, it looks like phenomenal. Like if you turn all the ray tracing and everything. But
the same engine as 2?
I would assume so. I honestly don't know. Like you don't do horror games at all?
no, typically not. I was actually just Miranda's dad is he has this beast of a machine for work, and he actually just got Steam downloaded on it because he doesn't want
Nice.
to make sure it was okay.
It's the Steam Spring Sale going on
Yeah,
right now.
so he was asking all recommendations. Like he really wanted to play Fallout. That was like the one game he really wants.
Connecting with his daughter.
Yeah. So we were talking Fallout, and then I think he was asking. I think it was him, and even Miranda's mom was asking, like, "Oh, is there like good horror games?" I was like, "I don't really do horror, but I do remember Alan Wake was like the one where I was like, I consider that kind of horror in a way. Like it's
like
a
a
good
thriller,
story. Yeah,
right?
thriller.
Yeah.
It's not a Dead
Yeah.
Space Resident Evil.
Yeah, I
thing.
don't like jump scare movies, let alone jump scare
Yeah.
games. So like I never played like the Alien remake and stuff like Dead
Right.
Space. I never really got into, to be honest.
I
But
will say, like, the thing about Dead Space is I like that you can fight in like Resident Evil, but like
Yeah.
something like Outlast where you're literally just like running.
Yeah.
yeah.
I hate that.
Slender
Like, you have
Man.
No, yeah, right. You have no power. You're just
that's-
running away.
But that is Resident Evil 2. Like there are parts of Resident Evil 2 where you have this like unkillable.
Yeah.
Well, technically you can kill them, but you have to like have like a bazillion rockets or something
right.
just constantly chasing you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I hate that point of it. But it is like that's the scariest thing, right? Like you have
Yeah.
dreams about that where you just hear
Helplessness.
like
Yeah.
like the stomping and stuff. I don't know. I think if he'd probably like Dead Space. Dead Space is
I enjoyed. I am with you. I don't like horror games, but Dead Space was a lot of fun. Actually,
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. It was a really good remake.
We did throw that up as a recommendation if he's looking for horror style games.
If he wants to go crazy, they had so you know how they're putting Thomas the Tank Engine and everything. So like
in one of
Skyrim
50
and-
Skyrim remakes.
yeah, right.
Dude.
So someone created a game based off of that, but it's called Choo Choo Charles, and it's like think of like Thomas the Tank Engine, but like angry clown, like pointy teeth, like it type thing.
bursting through walls like the Kool-Aid Man.
And it's just following you on a track, and you just have to like keep like shooting it and killing it and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, that'd be
There's like spider legs coming out of it and stuff.
Yeah.
that would leave a kind of lasting
It's
impression. Yeah.
It did ruin my childhood. That was bad, dude.
What about like Five Nights at Freddy's or something? Is that low?
Dude, I
low
can't get
impact?
into that.
Is he good at game? Like, I mean, does he do like mouse and keyboard and stuff?
No, so he's using a controller, I think, to start off.
Okay, yeah.
Because he's really good at like like traditional style arcade games and stuff, like pinball.
Fighting games?
I don't know if fighting games are his specialty, but he has quite a bit of like homemade like arcade machines with like all the different like ROMs that you can download and play.
Wow,
So,
that's cool.
and he's made like homemade pinball machines where you take like a computer monitor, lay it down flat, and program like
Yeah.
all the different pinball versions of it, and have it analog to buttons and everything. It's actually very cool. Like his basement is like this awesome setup for that.
Yeah.
But
And
he
now he has a
but,
baller
like,
computer.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's all over.
What started this whole conversation is I think he had a 3080 from work, or maybe it was a 2080 Ti at first, and then they just upgraded him to a 4090. I think.
Oh,
And
well, I mean,
it's a design computer, so like how
Yeah.
it's rigged. Like,
what's
it's-
crazy that he's going 49 because they typically for like design stuff they do what like quadro graphics or something. I don't know what he does. Like, is it like what is he?
A lot of
typically do?
I think After Effects and like actual like animation
Yeah.
design.
So
and
he
stuff.
lucked out then.
Yeah.
If maybe they don't do a quadro line for like the new stuff. Maybe they tried to like combine it together or something.
I think after buying my 3080 Ti experience, I took a little bit of a break from the graphics card news in the market.
Yeah.
So after that, I saw that I clearly bought at the wrong time. So
we were literally just talking about this yesterday, where it's like you could get my computer, but better. You can get like the next gen version of my computer for $2,000 less than I paid for it.
Yeah,
and it's just sickening. Like it's sad. Also, one of my lights, and I keep pointing there in my room. I point, and then you guys look.
You have X-ray vision?
I do that all the time. One of the lights in my fan burn out, so I always keep my fans on green, and the one green light just doesn't work, and it's just stuck at pink. So I just have all green and this one ugly little pink
that definitely
smudge.
doesn't bother you.
That's got.
I just noticed. I just noticed it today. It has to be today.
Tyler's tweaking.
I was not happy about it.
That's the wrong guy for that to happen to, man. That's not good.
So now it's between, do I just make everything pink to go with the lowest common denominator, or do I just turn everything off and it's just black? And then I just trust that, because everything's frosted. You have frosted panels too. So it's like without the lights, you don't know if your fans are spinning.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's true. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have an Alienware, so I can hear my fans very clearly spinning.
It was a good buy at the time, man. I don't know.
See, I like it. I enjoy it. I just hate that I can't upgrade it.
See, I just thought you just lived next to the airport or something.
No, dude. It looks like, even my case looks like it's about to take off. It's like they went all in on the spaceship aesthetic.
Yeah. I might end up buying an Alien. I keep going back and forth between getting an ultra wide Alien monitor that's an OLED screen, or just buying a 42-inch OLED TV for a monitor, and like that's it.
Yeah.
But
I would hate the ultra wide. I don't know, because you have to do everything on borderless, and it's just all on one screen. That seems terrible. I'd rather have two screens.
I agree.
I agree
separate
with you.
Yeah,
but also I'm trying to like just get everything as clean as possible. Like right now, I don't have any. Like it's disgusting. Like not a single cord is managed. Like everything's just like hanging there, because it's like I pulled everything out at one point when I was like, "Hey, we're moving," and then that got put on hold. So now I just like was lazy. I was like, "Oh, I was just gonna leave it here." But I'm at the point now where I just want everything gone. I want I almost want like the iMac experience where like everything's just in the monitor and like no tower, no anything, just whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a big. I get the allure of ultra wides. I just couldn't do it myself. I need to have the two screens, and I could do maybe one larger monitor for like actual gaming and stuff. But I think for me, like refresh rate's more important for most of my games. Yeah. I say that I'm acting like I'm like almost like a retired gamer these days. I mean, I only play Hogwarts Legacy now.
You need that refresh rate, man, to cast those spells.
But like ultra wide, I just think like it's cool, it's immersive, but like if we were playing like any sort of like multiplayer game or like Tarkov or something, you need to look up a map. Oh god, I couldn't imagine like trying to like navigate.
It all depends on the game too. I'll give you that. But if you're playing Forza, ultra wide would look sick.
Yeah, it would.
So it's just
depends
on what you want.
I have the curved monitor, which I like, which is kind of a weird setup for having another one, but I like it because you're like kind of in immersion zone.
Got that 1900 radius.
Yeah, it is wild. It is like super curvy.
Dude, whenever like the marketing comes in, and it's all marketing, but they're just like, oh, this is like a 1900 curve. I think it's a 1900R curve or whatever. And it's like
shape as your eye.
Exactly. It's like, oh, they take your eye and they just, it's like, okay.
It's like you're in the game. Yeah. No, it's 100% probably bullshit, but I think it's cool. I feel like I'm in a little cubby.
If they took my Beat Saber purchases and poured them over to the PSVR 2, I would probably own that thing. Because everyone's giving it like wild reviews, except the fact that there's no games for it.
Yeah, like I feel like anymore
that's
with
just
like VR, no one's just supporting it anymore.
Yep. Yeah.
Except Valve, right? Valve's like all in on VR stuff.
Yeah, but Valve puts out a game every 10 years.
Half-Life Alyx was really good.
Yeah, it's still the best thing you can play, but that's the problem. And to be fair on what was it, like Vacation Simulator, Job Simulator, or whatever.
Simulator.
Yeah, it's like you're like a convenience store worker or something, and there's like a sarcastic robot that's like, "This is what people like to do on their time off," and it's like, "Please scan the shampoo." It's funny, like it's just like a dumb thing, but it's still like the number one, or like it's in like the top 5 VR games. And they're like, this came out. I mean, how long ago did I get? It's been 6-7 years ago. That was like our second apartment. So it's like we've been here in this apartment for at least 5 years. We're going on 6. So it's been a while. And their developer was just like, look, if this is still like the top, like we screwed up. Like something went wrong here with the whole VR thing. But
You played Power Washer Simulator?
oh, in VR, that could be sick.
I heard that was popular.
I wonder if you can do that.
I think it is for VR, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it?
I think I've seen people play it in VR. Yeah,
Almost positive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well let me rephrase that. I wonder if I can do that. Just from like if you're on a ladder or something, I can't. Like I would get like sick. Like I'm very bad with heights. So like if I'm climbing up a ladder or whatever, and they're like down or whatever, like. I mean, that's why
Take
Call of
jobs
the
only on
Wild
the
and
ground.
everyone's like you're Aloy climbing on a mountain and stuff. And I'm just like, if I look down, I'm just gonna like just drop. Like I'm just gonna fall.
Really? It's
you
that bad?
It's not good.
You get like height sickness from video games too. Like
in VR.
in VR.
Yeah. But it's weird because like only if it's something like that, where if I'm on a ladder or if I'm like climbing on like a cliff or whatever, then yes. But if I'm like in a jetpack or something where I'm just like, oh, I'm just flying around, like doesn't faze me. Or if I know that there's not like my mind separates it from, oh, nothing's tethering you to this ladder, you could fall, or nothing's tethering you to this cliff because you're a badass Aloy person. I don't know.
Hands of steel.
I
can't never let go of that rock.
Gosh.
Yeah.
She does, which in the new one, and this is a complete tangent, but like if you just let her hang, she'll like put an arm down, like shake it and stuff. Like that stuff.
Best
so
animations in the game.
Like
dude.
best idle animations.
Yes.
Like that would be a good
She
one.
gets out of the water. She's like shaking her boots. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Is Aloy the best climber in video games? This is a question I've asked like years ago.
Nope.
No?
No.
Is it Ezio?
No. Who was the guy from Unity?
Unity.
God.
Is that the
Completely-
French one?
Yeah.
French
French Revolution.
Couldn't tell you who.
I can't remember his name.
Completely.
How is he better than
forgettable
Ezio?
Because he's faster.
Oh.
So like that, and it's not Ezio's fault,
No.
but whenever they like change the parkour system and everything's faster and you're like flying and doing everything, like I think he's a better climber. The problem is if you grab Sam Fisher from whenever they did the remake, not Blacklist, but the one before that, like Contract Conviction. So Splinter Cell Conviction, he's faster than Batman, then like literally, like if he's holding on to like a building and you have him like scaling left, he's like running. He looks like an ape.
Well,
Just,
why
like, running.
are you assuming speed is the key there?
For climbing?
Yeah.
Because everyone else is so slow. I feel like if you can
but, like,
scale
Aloy
a building
can
super fast.
Aloy's like scaled mountains.
Yeah, but
Like
so is
Everest
everyone in
peak. Like
so is what's his face from or her face from Valhalla or is Valhalla? Assassin's Creed Valhalla?
Climbing mountains?
Yeah.
Odyssey, maybe?
Well, Odyssey definitely, but I feel like there were higher ones in the Viking one.
I was, when you first asked that, I was thinking like, oh, Ezio is a good one. Nathan Drake, Lara Croft style. Like, it's not so much speed for me. I think it's a little bit of a blend between like realism and how they look when they're actually like climbing that I think I consider more.
Oh, okay. So you're adding,
But
just
also
adding
like
a couple layers. There.
I mean, I'd be lying if I said like mechanics don't play somewhat of a role in it, but I don't think it matters as much. Like I was thinking like Ezio at first because like I don't think it was 2 maybe, but I think Revelations I think was like right around when they were changing the parkour system in Assassin's Creed anyway, which was I think right before Unity or so by maybe 1 or 2 games.
I remember Unity
Black Flag
being
was
the
after.
one.
Yeah, Black Flag, and then it went from Black Flag to I think Unity, right?
I think
no,
you're right.
3. No, Black Flag.
Black Flag's 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was actually
3.
called 4 Black Flag.
Wasn't there like
3
a 3?
was the Revolution.
Yeah,
US
that
Revolution.
came before 4.
Yes, it was 3, then Black Flag.
Yeah, and then Unity.
Then Unity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Awesome.
3 had the worst of like the parkour, and I think it was just more the landscape that they were dealing with.
Yeah, they
It's
didn't
like,
have
hey, you want to
buildings.
climb on trees in the woods? Like, it was not ideal. Like I was just running. You were just running on the ground basically.
But Aloy did that too, and it was awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean Horizon's a little bit of a different animal.
I think Assassin's Creed has always been more focused on the climbing.
Here's the thing though. Then if you want to go that route, then I would argue that Link is the best climber because he can literally climb anything in Breath of the Wild. Like anything in the game, you just stick to and do it. So even Spider-Man can't do that. Batman can't do that. Everyone else like in those video games.
Spider-Man can do that.
I don't think you can climb just anything.
Almost anything.
Almost anything, sure. I'm just saying Link is like, I'm just going to climb this mountain. Now, does he have the stamina for it? No, but you can get there.
Yeah, but if you're Spider-Man, you just climb like the Empire State Building, like easy.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, it's easy when you have webs to get up there, too.
Doesn't matter.
He just sprints up there.
Does that count as climbing?
Yeah, I'm just going by Mike's laws of realism.
I don't know, dude. Web slinging, which counts as a grappling hook, apparently,
I'm just
is
saying,
like the best movement in any video game.
If it's not painted yellow for Nathan Drake, and if it's not painted white for Lara Croft, they ain't climbing it.
Oh, the same thing could be said for Aloy, though.
Exactly. That's my point. Yeah. That's my point. So, like, at that point...
Well, every Assassin's Creed game.
No, Assassin's Creed doesn't have any of those.
They're not colored, but
they're not colored, but
they're clearly showing you the right path you want to take.
The architecture was very specifically designed.
There's a lot of bricks that are sticking out of this house.
But you're making my point for me then, because Link is just like, I'll just climb it. Like if you any tree, you can cut that tree down, you can just climb it up and grab an apple.
A skyscraper. You know what Spider-Man climbs really well?
Skyscrapers.
If there was a skyscraper in Zelda,
we're talking about difficulty. I mean, it's like...
And like you said, is web slinging considered climbing? Because then it's like Batman grapple hooking to the top of a building. Is that technically climbing? I would say no.
But that's the thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's literally sprinting up a building. He's just running up one.
Yeah.
That's not, you have a superpower.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, no, he's very nice.
He's a
very nice climber. What are we talking about?
Climbers.
Yeah. So you like Hogwarts?
Yeah, speaking of video games.
That's a nice transition. Yeah, so I think when I first started Hogwarts, I was really, really enjoying it. I played through basically everything there is to do in the first playthrough. And I remember when I first got it, I was like, oh, I'm going to do like every house because I want to feel the difference in choices and the difference in the missions. That was how I was thinking at first.
Ooh, mistake.
Now I will say that is certainly not happening. And I think the game is very good. It's a solid foundation. Obviously, it had some technical issues here and there, even on my PC. So I can imagine like Xbox, like I think Miranda's trying to get into it. Mm-hmm. It's similar in that regard. But I do think they missed the consequences of choices. It wasn't as clearly as like the way they were advertising it or the way they were showing like, oh, you know, like depending on what you do. And I remember like at first I was like, oh, I'm really scared to learn like a curse.
Right.
and even like, oh, well, I'm a Ravenclaw, so I'm still going to learn it because I'm interested in knowledge, but I'm not going to use it. And and then after the fact, it's like, oh, like you mean to tell me you could just use these whenever and no one cares?
That's an eye.
Yeah, it's like, oh, those poachers must have deserved it.
Right. Like your professors are just watching you murder people and it's like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Your body count in that game is astronomically high.
And that's
crazy.
And that was the logic where it's like, oh, so it's like you can't use like Avada Kedavra for like an instant kill, but you can slam a goblin off the ground like 4 or 5 times. Like it's like
summon a lightning bolt out of thin air.
Light him on fire, and
it's very Hufflepuff to like fight these guys and make sure that you're like proccing like diseases on not diseases but like curses on everybody.
Yeah.
So then when you do your Avada Kedavra, it kills everybody at the same time. Just like, oh my god.
Oh, that's Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
that's me. I'm a Hufflepuff.
I would say like I think when I was playing through it, I was like thinking like, okay, this is like a strong like high 8s, low 9s.
Yeah.
And now I think after playing through it and seeing, I guess, the difference or maybe the indifference of what you can choose, I think it's more in like the mid 8s to low 8 area.
What do we put it on? 84? I think we put it
at 80s.
Yeah, I think we put it on 84.
I'd probably say like 86, 85. So I'm pretty much right there with you guys. I enjoyed it a lot. I think the world's great. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see. I think they've already announced they're going to do another one.
Oh, really?
And I also heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I think so, that they're also planning to either do a TV show or movie IP based off this like legacy style story. already.
I don't know if it's that good.
I don't know. It depends.
It's about the dollars, man.
Yeah,
It's all about the bench. I mean,
They saw that check hit their bank account. They're like, guys,
That's completely fair.
Need to hit the sequel button.
I mean, it is. I think it is. They nailed Hogwarts. They nailed the feel of being a student. It was cool. It just some small things I would change with it, but for the most part, it was.
How do you feel about no Griffball?
Griffball?
What, Quidditch?
Quidditch. There you go, buddy.
So, what's Griffball? That's Halo.
That's Halo.
Yeah.
How do you feel about
I thought you did that on purpose. I was like, that was clever.
I would be surprised if there's no DLC for it that somehow throws it in later, or if it's going to be an integral part of maybe the sequel.
Yeah.
I think maybe that was something where it's like trying to get the mechanics of that in probably was too much. So
it doesn't feel good to fly, really. Like, it's okay.
I disagree. So at first I thought it was really awkward, but once I got the hang of it, and you learn the little quips of like, oh, well, if you fly low, you just never run out of boost. So like if you don't want to fly high, it's like, and I still do not understand the mechanics of it. It's like, are you going with the wind and that's why you have it? But you'll notice like your boost bar doesn't go down. So once you actually get the broom upgrades and do all that stuff, I love the broom. I actually never really flew on the mounts.
The mounts were worse.
The mounts were terrible. Yeah, I did not like the way the mounts felt, but I do think the broom, I was like, this is awesome. And it's like,
can you see yourself playing Quidditch with it? Like, or do you feel like I agree with you. By the end, it was like, okay, I can travel pretty flawlessly, like swooping down, jumping off, murdering guys, and jumping back on and flying away. Like, I could get pretty good at that. But like playing a game with it and trying to like hit a ball coming at you and stuff,
I think that's going to be the hardest part, and probably why they did it included. Honestly, probably is just this. How do you handle the Quidditch in the multiple style like of balls, like the snitch or the everything else going on? It would be a lot to manage. But I do think they explained it, at least in the story, in a nice way, where like it made sense. Just
straight up, like before you were like, even sorted, they're like, hey, there's no Quidditch.
Yeah, and I did laugh a lot because I was really hyping up. I was like, oh wow, Simon Pegg's like the headmaster. That's really cool. And then
was that
like,
Simon Pegg?
It was. Yeah. Oh, okay. And there was a whole interview on it, and even Simon Pegg was like, my character is the worst. he's like, I'm finally in Harry Potter, and I'm thrilled to be a part of the franchise. But man, this guy is the worst headmaster ever.
Dude, his first words were no Quidditch. Like,
yeah, and he's just like he's not really as utilized as I thought he would be after getting such a big name doing a voice. But I think story was good, world is good. They nailed some parts. Combat feels great. That was the one thing I really enjoyed. It took a little bit to get used to, but once you get towards the end of the game, and at first I was like, oh, there's not many different ways to show combat, but I think it was actually Nate showed me like how he approaches combat, and he is like a big potion guy, and I was not a potion guy at all in my first playthrough, and I'm like, that's weird. Like I was like, well, what do you do for like Wiggenwelds? He's like, I don't use Wiggenwelds. I just use everything else. And he pops basically one of every like major, and I'm like, I didn't even think of that. Like I didn't utilize the room of requirement as much as I probably should have, but I think overall, like I said, like mid 8s up to higher 8s, I would say is a good place to put it. I enjoyed it a lot, but
yeah, I think you hit the mark with like a good foundation. Like I think you could build off of it.
Yeah,
I agree with you too. Like it seemed like there was no consequence with any mission that you did or talked to or whatever. And you're playing like, who's your boy from Slytherin?
Oh, Sebastian.
Yeah, I mean, you keep going between these guys, and it's just like, don't tell Sebastian. Okay, I won't. And then you tell him, and it's like, I can't believe you told him. And then it still doesn't matter. Yeah. And like, what's his face was like, your professor is like, don't tell anybody this. And like, you're like, okay, I won't. And then there was one instance where it was like, the line wasn't like, I'm gonna spill every secret I have to you, but I hit it, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, and then we did this, then we killed a dragon, we did all. I'm like, shut up, man, what are you doing? and I was like super worried about that. And then like another 30 hours in, like, oh,
that meant nothing.
That literally meant zilch. Like it.
And to be honest, I think like even without going too much into it, because I don't want to spoil like the main gist of it, but it's like the choices literally mean nothing until like one or two crucial choices. That's literally it. And like everything else where I was like, I wish like how you interacted on even some of the side missions like affected your like ego or story element of it where it's like, oh, it's like, no, you're just going to be a total like asshole and not give what's her name's gobstones back. But there's no like that doesn't change anything. And I'm like, yeah, maybe not one choice, but if you did that to everybody, you would think like you'd be like people would be saying stuff about you if you were walking past them in the halls. Like, oh, look at this tool.
I go into a fight club, take the person, and just smash them off the ground 12 times. And then they talk to me right after and like, oh, hey, good fight.
Yeah, see you in Summoner's Court.
Okay.
Dude, the thing is, too, like, since you don't really have any dialogue options, it's like you're really nice until the end of the quest where you can be an absolute asshole.
Yeah, and
it's like...
and they were close to it. Like, it's like some quests, like, if you are, like, an asshole, you do get rewarded differently. You can get more money out of it in some quests, but it's not every quest. I like that element, but just everything else...
needs to be a Paragon Renegade system.
It's just like you're picking dialogue, but you're not really picking it, I guess.
You're not shaping anything. It's like it's a set world that you're just kind of. I mentioned like it's like you're just a museum. You're just walking around. It's like, oh, hey, look at all these cool things. Hogwarts is amazing. And then everything else is just like collectathon.
I think for the sake of like if I get really really bored because there's not many other games that are coming out. Maybe Jedi when Jedi comes out will probably be my next one that I'll get into, but. I was thinking maybe I'll do a Slytherin like bad guy playthrough where I'm just like the worst, like the worst character ever. Yeah, it's just a difference, but in the end, it's not that much of a difference overall. Like
if you were like that, then the bad guy should like take you under his wing, type of thing, right?
Yeah,
like it's just like, oh, hey, you seem like a good guy to have on my bad team.
Or like if you find, I think like there is something in the game where if you find the dark arts battleground or something, you can learn all the unforgivables even before like you progress through the story.
That's cool.
It's a little hidden, but there is a place where you can find it and do that. If I do a second playthrough of Slytherin, you better believe I'm going there first. Sure. I'm just going to like, oh, I don't need Bombarda. Like, just give me Crucio and everything else. And
Bombarda's real good though.
Yeah. Avada Kedavra is the most OP.
That's actually a separate topic. That's another top 5 you should do. Top 5 spells in Hogwarts Legacy. Should have been one that.
That's a good one.
Specifically in that game or in the IP itself?
I would say in that game.
Okay.
There's a lot of spells in the whole.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're talking about the whole thing, you could. There's so many busted spells that are just so OP. The fact that you can kill someone with like no consequence.
Yeah.
At any point, and it's like unblockable unless you have a twin wand or whatever the fuck happened in the movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
I should read those books someday.
I do have them. I meant to like start potentially reading them again, but honestly, ever since I went back to school, I have no inspiration to read for fun. It's like it's just beating out of me.
Sounds like
you're in school?
No, I was like so I finished my master's like couple of years ago, and I'm still in that. Like, it was funny. Like when we moved out, I was like, I started reading a little bit more, like for fun, and I'm like, yeah, this is nice. And then when I went right back to school, I'm like, nope. Like I have no inspiration to pick up this book and actually read.
I would say Harry Potter, if you get back into it, probably the easiest one though.
Oh,
it's
sure,
such an easy read. It's like crazy easy.
If you want a Star Wars
reference,
I'm just saying.
30 minutes.
There are 2 books. 2 books. One is called Lost Stars. It's Star Wars. It goes through all the movies, but through like none of the main characters. It's all like these 2 like Imperial pilots are kind of going through, and they have like the milestones of what happened in the movie. So like the Death Star blows up and how do they handle it and all that stuff. Extremely well written. That's my favorite Star Wars book. And then I just finished Thrawn, which I think you would like because it is very like tactical, and he's like this just combat genius, and he has like all this like inner monologue and stuff, and it's almost Sherlock Holmes-ish because he's like doing his inner monologue of like, oh, his face is getting red, or I know he's lying, or whatever, and stuff. Like it's really well done. So if you like the Star Wars thing but hate all the new Star Wars stuff, those 2 are really good. I'm
probably maybe a year or so away before I can start reading for fun, but I will let you know.
I'm trying a series called Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, who Kyle should know because he wrote the last of the Wheel of Time books.
Oh.
But to give you kind of a reference point, my Thrawn book was like a 9-hour audiobook. So like maybe like translates like 6.5, 7-hour read. and the audiobook for this one is 26 hours.
Are you an audiobook guy?
So the only ones that I do are the ones that sync to your Kindle. So I prefer just reading, but I also love the option to like, okay, I'm reading. Oh, I have to like go somewhere. It syncs, and then I just go in my car, plug it in, and then the audiobook goes, and it saves my place in the book. And when I'm done, I just pull up the book, and it's exactly where the audiobook left off.
So you're like my friend who like you can do it in a car. You can read or I guess listen to an audiobook in the car and not still be able to focus.
I've switched to that over like podcasts, actually.
I've been finding that interesting where it's like, I feel like I could do a podcast. I feel like actually trying to like, because like when you read, you try to visualize like what's being described. I feel like I could not do that driving. I feel like that's a bad recipe for bad recipe for like, oh, I'm trying to figure out, what does the two towers look like?
I guess it really just depends. Like a lot of the books that I listen to are fairly well acted. So like it's almost like you're listening to like a TV show.
Yeah, like dialogue.
Like that.
Yeah. That would make sense.
Yeah. Would you say you potentially lose something when you switch? Like what if there's like an important section that you have and you're switching to audio book? Do you feel like you've ever lost anything? Because you were telling me the last book you read, the majority of it was audio.
Yes.
And you did not like that book as much.
I did.
I wonder if that contributes to it.
It could have. I don't think as much. Like for the, I literally just finished Thrones. So that's why it's on top of my head. I think it was like almost overacted. Like everyone was so like flamboyantly like over the top on like, oh, I can't believe Thrawn cursed me again. Like whatever. And on one hand, it was like I just didn't like the performance as much, even though I normally do like the guy that does it. But I really did enjoy listening to his version of Thrawn, and then when I'm reading the book, he's very slow and methodical and stuff, and I was reading it in that way. So it's kind of like whenever I read the novelization of Episode 3, also a very really good book. You had all their voices in your head too, so it's kind of like a give and take. It's like maybe if you do parts of it where it's like okay, you get a flavor of like how they're kind of supposed to be acted, and then your kind of mind just takes it from there. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
No, I think I like people who read, which is not me.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard from people that like when you're gonna read, you're not gonna do better than that because it's literally whatever you want.
Yeah,
right? You're seeing exactly what you want to see, what you want to hear.
Yeah,
no one's gonna voice that better.
I don't think I'm doing anything too crazy. Like Star Wars, it's not hard reads, right? So like now that I'm doing the Mistborn thing, that's a little bit more like Game of Thronesy, Tolkien. Like this is like his like fantasy world thing. And it's a very new thing, which is why I was doing that over Harry Potter because it's like okay, I already watched the Harry Potter movies. Like I get the gist. This is a completely new universe. So I think this will be like a test of do I listen to it? Do I read it? Which do I like more? I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Interesting.
That's the book section.
You know what other top 5 we should do? This is totally different.
Top 5 books of all time?
No.
Okay. Bible
Maybe.
Number 1.
Bible 1.
Bible 1.
Which one though? Gutenberg.
I was the Rainbow.
Dude, the Gutenberg
Bible
is worth so much money.
I'm sure.
I saw it on Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
One leaf.
Okay.
One leaf of it was like $100K or something, or like.
This is a little sacrilegious, but there was an illustrated Bible that I saw once, and Adam and Eve were naked, but they were like naked.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like a kid version.
No, this was like it was just like a sketch of 2 naked people. I'm just like, huh, like okay,
yeah.
It was at Half Price Books. I wonder which one that was. But yeah, it was like I remember that one, Jonah, like Moses, like all the classic like, but it had Adam and Eve picture, man.
Something about
it's bored in my head forever.
All Old Testament, by the way, all the examples you gave. I wonder why that is. That's really strange.
I didn't get past the Old Testament. I just kept going back to Adam and Eve.
Comparing it to Genesis.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, sorry, what were you saying what were you saying about the Bible or something?
No,
okay.
All good on the Bible talk.
Okay, the top five we should do is I'm still thinking about this Bible now. You got
no. I'm sorry.
The top 5 we should do when you brought up Griffball is top 5 fictional sports.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a good one too.
It's like Quidditch and Griffball is one, and like would Rocket League count as one? What was it?
Yeah,
that's its own sport.
Sure. In like that Final Fantasy X one.
Blitzball.
Yeah.
Blitzball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's Blitzball.
It's Blitzball.
I'm almost positive. There's got to be more, right? I can't think of any others.
Rocket Racers. Is that a sport?
I think you have to try to find a distinction between like a video game that's could be portrayed as a sport and an actual mini game within a game, like a sports or within a world, right? Like you mentioned, Quidditch is a prime example of that.
Quidditch
right?
definitely counts.
But like other ones like Rocket League.
Rocket League has to count.
Maybe.
There's
it
no
depends on how your
sport
rules
that's RC cars that play soccer.
That can fly.
That can fly
Yeah.
and shit.
Because it's not, it's calling it soccer is a little reductive.
Right.
'Cause there's no like offsides or anything, and they have different.
It's not soccer.
Yeah.
It's literally not soccer.
It's basically soccer.
But is pawn a sport? Technically, by that logic,
Pong.
Pawn or
Pawn. What's pawn?
Pong.
Oh, Pong.
Yeah.
For some reason I heard it really weird. Yeah.
So that would be considered in a round. Okay, then that's fine.
Yeah, I guess
It's just
your question is what makes it fictional.
or
Right.
like what makes it like what's the difference between a video game that's like
Rocket
that,
League's real thing, right?
Air hockey or like any of that. Like
Well, air hockey's like
there's
I guess I'm thinking physical.
Like Blood Bowl is football,
And-
but you can murder
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that
Blood
could be
Bowl
a good one
is a
too.
good example.
Yeah.
Rocket League might not be because like you have an esport that's Rocket League. Like that's a kind of a real sport,
Wow,
right?
now you're getting super like meta.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is
sure.
that a sport then?
You would have to be very careful with the rules on that one.
That
when
would
you
be
did it.
weird.
Like,
Quidditch would win, but actually no. You know want to hear why Quidditch wouldn't win?
Because it's dumb.
No. Yes. The rules are terrible in Quidditch.
yeah, explain it.
First of all, the rules in the books and the movies are different. So the rules in the book, the game does not end until someone catches the snitch. The snitch is worth 150 points. That's 15 goals. So essentially, if you catch the snitch, you win. And the game's just dragged out until they catch a stick. Like there's so much emphasis on the snitch that seemingly the other positions don't even matter.
Yeah.
And then in the movies, it's even worse because whoever catches the snitch wins the game.
Insta win.
Insta win.
Yeah.
So if you're a beater, I'm just literally headshotting the enemy snitch getter, seeker,
Yeah.
like trying to kill him, and then like
You're
you know what I mean?
cursing. You're cursing the ball to break his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Dude,
what's
the other
point?
positions don't even matter at all.
Oh, keeper. But yeah.
No, let in all the goals. We're just gonna go after the snitch because we win
But
if we catch it.
15 goals.
No, that's the book version. That's
Yeah.
the book version.
Okay.
The movie version, if you catch the snitch, you win the game.
Are you
instantly.
sure?
Yes.
Is it timed?
I think it is. The movie is timed.
But it doesn't mention it in the books.
The book is not timed. The book says there's been Quidditch matches that's lasted weeks and shit because it doesn't end until the snitch is caught.
Those British and their cricket, man.
Well, I don't
they can't get
understand
enough
that
of it.
then. So it has to get caught, but then it's still to 150 points.
I'm talking about two different versions. In
Yeah.
the book,
Okay.
when you catch the snitch, you get 150 points and the game ends.
Okay.
A goal is worth 10 points.
Okay.
So a snitch is worth 15 goals.
Yeah.
So unless you're up by 16 goals,
That's what I mean. Let's say I do 50. Okay. So what I'm saying is you can keep banking points because whenever
the game's going on.
Yeah.
But like the likelihood of you being up that much,
Well, look, I'm not. Yeah.
probably, you know what I mean? Don't even get me started on those lines, dude. Like, could you imagine those spreads?
You read my mind. I was about to say
good transition.
there are some bad beats in Quidditch.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, that would be fucking crazy.
Some like it's like that. There's a TikTok where someone does it where he's like, "Oh, I have money on Slytherin to win the House Cup," and then it's like he started giving out points to Harry for like. Courage
Oh my god,
and he's
yeah.
like losing it.
Yeah,
He's like,
I see that.
we had it. We had it.
Just pans to Draco's face. Just like, yeah. Anyways, the way you fix Quidditch is there's a timer. Okay, so the game ends after 4 quarters or whatever. And then you know how there's the 3 hoops? Like there's the one tall one and the medium and the small one?
Those aren't different points.
They're not. They
so
should
stupid.
be. It should be 10, 20, 30, right? And then maybe different like sizes, like the 31 smaller.
Yeah.
And then the snitch is worth 150 or whatever, or 100.
Yeah.
And the game ends or whatever, however you want to
like
do that,
you
right?
should ball.
You should write a petition to J.K. Rowling for that. I'm sure she'll get to
She's
it.
really bad at writing sports rules because that always angered me. It's just like it's terrible.
There's a
The
lot.
seeker
There's
is
a
the
lot
whole
of
team.
things she's got to take care of first.
I was gonna say, I don't think you're allowed to say.
I'm just saying the seeker means everything in that.
Yeah, well, you got to put more.
Yeah,
it's more pressure on
Seeker's
Harry.
number one, and then keeper would be 2.
Yeah, but it's like so number one that literally nothing else
It's
matters.
OP. Yeah,
It's so OP.
It's like a killing
You need
curse
to
that kills
nerf it.
everything instantly.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and the fact that you can literally just teleport wherever you want.
Can you?
Yes.
I thought
you can
couldn't-
evaporate.
Not on
anywhere.
Hogwarts grounds.
Yeah,
however,
except on the main plot point of the entire
Let's take
movie.
a step back. They don't teach that until you're a 6th year, I think. And
Oh yeah. You have to get a license.
How many years are you in Hogwarts?
8.
8.
yeah,
No, 6.
I thought it was like 6.
No, 8. Shit. Let me think. How many books?
7th year maybe.
7
Seven.
books.
7 years.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are they actually in school for that 7th year?
No, but they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They had to leave early.
What a wild.
Harry actually didn't graduate. He never went back.
Yeah. What a flunk.
Idiot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's overrated.
Between that and literally destroying the Elder Wand,
Yeah, he's an idiot, dude.
doesn't get
he
much worse.
destroyed
Than
the
that.
Elder on. Yeah, he's the villain. He's
no.
a bad guy.
No, he's not bad.
No, I think he's certainly not the villain.
I think he's
but
stronger than Gandalf.
No,
I don't
Dude,
think Harry.
I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah.
Movie
Actually,
Gandalf is. Dude, there was this Reddit post that was like, movie Gandalf is like a fighter who like has one spec in the
Yeah,
wizard or something.
right.
Like he can cast cantrips.
he came back to life.
So?
Okay, Harry Potter didn't do that.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He was never killed.
Voldemort killed him.
When?
At the end, he goes to the Forbidden Forest and he sacrifices himself because he's the last Horcrux. And then he comes back to life.
Is that true?
Checkmate.
Whole resurrection stone too. Was
Checkmate.
part of that. The Deathly
Checkmate.
Hallows.
Yeah.
Apparently, don't remember.
He had two-
that at
two,
all.
Checkmate.
Why couldn't Dumbledore
Gandalf
do
literally
that?
like has a sword when he's fighting. What's the big battle in the third one?
Not Helm's Deep.
Not Helm's Deep. Thank you.
Yeah.
And like he never casts any spell. Like what spells does he cast? He walks into
He
the
does
village.
the sunlight. It wasn't actually a spell. It was just the sunlight behind
Yeah.
him.
He also-
but-
he
That's like a
but he-
cantrip. That's like a
He
first
got,
level spell.
He got Saruman out of the king. That's a spell in a way.
oh yeah, he exercised the.
Yeah.
Did you ever cast like a fireball? Did you ever rain meteors from the sky? Like, like 9th level spells.
broke-
Yeah, but to be
were they
fair,
supposed to have?
Harry's favorite spell is Stupefy in the movies, and then like Expelliarmus in the books. Like, what else?
At
is
least he casted spells. Like,
Harry didn't kill an
Gandalf-
army.
Gandalf's sitting there fighting with a
Yeah.
sword.
Gandalf
It's like,
doesn't have to.
You're
Yeah.
the most powerful wizard in like the world, bro. You should just be smiting things.
Gandalf's kill count's got to be higher than Harry's. Like, it's not even
His kill count's higher. I just think like
his injure count
everyone
is still higher.
everyone tells me how OP Gandalf is, and I watch the movies and I'm like, where is he OP?
You should see him on a broom
Pippin's more OP.
doing the Quidditch thing.
He's
What?
just-
Take Pippin out of that movie, they're fucked.
How?
Tell me I'm wrong.
Explain it.
He did the thing.
He did the thing. Okay.
Didn't he have an important role in that movie?
Pippin?
Yeah. Marrying Pippin?
Talk to some trees, I guess.
Oh, the worst part of the movie. God, Treebeard's the worst.
I can confirm Two Towers is.
The extended is bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's worse than
It's bad when you watch all three back to back.
yeah.
Speaking
But
of, we're doing
Return of
all
the King is
amazing.
amazing extended, dude.
Yeah, Return of the King is the best. Lord of the Rings movie.
I knew Return of the King was goated when Tyler, who falls asleep during everything, like he was half dead during Two Towers, and then revived instantly
See?
when Return of the King started.
I thought it was like, this is a huge mistake.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's been a while since I've seen all the extendeds. I always remember I'd never liked the Fellowship extended. It's just too long. But
Really?
yeah,
I like the
all
Fellowship.
long.
it's
Yeah.
been
Yeah,
a
they're
really long time now since
Didn't
I've
you go
seen
to
them.
Kyle's?
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
there.
he wasn't there?
No.
No, John was there. It was
Oh,
me,
John was there,
you,
yeah.
I guess
Zach was there.
Chelsea and Zach, right?
Yeah. Oh man, dude, everyone walked in because you're a Two Towers guy, right?
Yeah.
Everyone walked in and they were all yelling at me because I said 3 was the best, and they're like, "Dude, 2 Towers is the best." Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, let's see it.
Yeah.
By the end of the night, at least 90% of the people in that room
In context.
were with me.
In context, yeah.
Yes,
Two Towers might be the worst one.
I'm telling you. telling you.
Okay.
Watch the extendeds.
Tell
me I'm wrong.
The extendeds all in one sitting.
Okay.
And
All
then,
right. 9 hours later. At that
that's
point,
like 11, buddy.
At that point, I start questioning, like, are you saying that just because, like, you're in, like, the middle point? Like, you've already been sitting there for, like, 5-6 hours.
You would think
like,
that, but then Return of the King comes on, man.
But you're at the end, so you're excited.
No,
You're
that's
like,
what
oh, my
counts
God,
too.
this
It's
is
just
it.
exciting,
We're
man.
wrapping up, you know?
No.
Because
Return of the King started, which is like 4 more hours.
Yeah.
And Tyler's in, dude. Tyler's like,
don't get me wrong. I think
Rings.
Return of the King's a great movie. Isn't it
So
like
good.
the most Oscar awarded movie ever?
I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
because
still,
it was, right?
They won like
All of those Oscars
double
went to
digits,
that
I thought,
one.
right? Yeah, like it was
they
like
waited.
cinematography
Yeah.
and every like best like actor
Yeah.
in a leading
Well,
role.
the
actor
reason
support
was
role,
because they
like-
waited till the end of the series
Yeah.
just to give them. Because they were like,
I'd actually be curious to go back and see what was it competing against at the time, because like
Was that 2000?
because there's certainly lulls in movie years.
2003.
5, 4,
I don't know. We would have to
3.
look
Was it
up.
that early?
I can look it
Oh,
up.
you might be right. 2003.
Look it up. I feel like we've had this conversation.
Yeah, we
But
rehashed
we
a lot of stuff.
can take a look at it. What else we got going on?
Oh, maybe so good. The reason Return of the King extended is so good is because the extended portions are necessary, whereas Two Towers was good theatrically, and the extended version is just Treebeard.
I think non-extended. I bet you Two Towers
Yes.
is still
Agreed.
by far the best.
It
but
is.
I that's the thing. I haven't seen the extended cuts in so long that I can't really speak on it.
You're correct.
All right, Return of the King, 2003.
Yep.
It was going up against Hulk,
Okay.
Yeah, big one.
Pirates of the Caribbean,
Hulk. Wait,
The
when did?
first Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
which is
Wait,
pretty
which
good.
Hulk? Like the Ed Norton one?
No, the one before that.
Oh. I was like, there's no way
X-Men
they can-
2,
These are all Oscar like Best Picture nominees.
Matrix Reloaded,
No, he's just naming movies that came out then, right?
Daredevil, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen,
Have you seen that?
No,
You should watch it.
no.
It's terrible.
The Last Samurai, The Recruit. Forgot about that one.
You gotta look up like what was it competing
The
against in the
Core.
Oscars?
Yeah, who was nominated for
Yeah.
Best Picture?
Who was against Best Picture in 2003?
It won Best Picture, right?
I think so. I think it won double digits Oscars or something like that.
Dude,
if I
remember when
remember.
the Oscars like actually nominated things we've seen?
Although to be fair, I was very happy that Everything Everywhere All at Once like won
seen
what
that?
it deserved. It is a
Oh,
very good
okay.
movie. Yeah, Miranda.
I haven't seen it.
She almost overhyped it for me a bit.
Almost.
I watched it. I watched it in an airplane actually, and I really enjoyed it. But I was like, she was making me seem like it was like this is the greatest movie I've ever seen. Like,
Was it the greatest movie you ever seen?
no, it was very
But it's
good,
good.
but
Okay.
it wasn't. It wasn't. I would say the best movie.
What is it
ever.
about?
It's you have to see it.
Just blind. It's a blind
go
movie.
into it blind.
All right.
It's very good.
right.
I was glad that it won. I thought that that and Top Gun Maverick I think were the two that I saw.
Was Top Gun even nominated?
Yeah, Best Picture.
It was?
Mhm.
That's good. I'm glad. I think that should have won, personally.
He wasn't even there, right?
Tom Cruise?
No, he was like filming the next Mission Impossible.
Everything Everywhere All at Once
He's
I think was
crazy.
nominated for 11 Oscars, and that was a big deal. But it
Yeah.
didn't win. Like I think like I could have sworn Return of the King was like 13 nominations and like 10
Dude,
wins or
Return of
something.
the King is nowhere on here.
Really?
Yeah, Best Picture Chicago in 2003.
Hold on.
Was it the first one that was nominated?
No, hold on. That doesn't make sense because it's going up against Lord of the Rings: Two Towers. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you got to find
2004 then.
Return of the King Oscar wins and what was against it.
Yeah.
Because
Because if it came out in 2003, when it don't
Yeah,
they do the
you're-
Oscars
you're-
early
you're
next
following
year?
year, yeah. So it'd be 2004 Oscars.
2004 Oscars. Yeah.
But was it really that Two Towers and Return of the King was only 1 year apart?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. 'cause
Wow.
filmed
they came out
everything.
every year. That's
So
crazy.
2003, it was Two Towers. So
Did they film all at once?
art direction, Return of the King. Cinematography wasn't. Costume design was Return of the
What
King.
won cinematography
Directing.
versus Return of the King? I'm curious.
Cinematography.
Yeah.
Matrix
Master
Reloaded.
and Commander: The Far Side of the World.
Do any of us know that movie?
Nope.
Okay.
They're not even on the That wasn't even nominated. Return of the King
Really?
wasn't. No. But they got costume
Cinematography?
design. They got directing. Let's see here. They got film editing. They got makeup. They
Sure.
got music.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. So you guys are right.
Sweet.
So
It's
it's
a sweet.
2004 that.
Yeah.
Did it win Best
How many?
Picture?
Oh, I think so.
Does it say how many it has?
Yeah,
or no?
Best Picture. Yeah.
What was it against for Best Picture?
So it was going against Lost in Translation, Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World, Mystic River, and Seabiscuit.
I don't think I know any of those. So now we know why.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Well,
Dude, Lord of the
they
Rings
probably
is really
deserved
good.
their vote most over most things, right? But
Well, so okay, hold on. Let me go down to the Best Picture and see what kind of weird.
I actually have to check where Lord of the Rings is on IMDb now.
Best Picture, Two Towers was part of it, but they were going up against Chicago, Gangs of New York, The Hours, and The Pianist. Pianist won a lot.
Pianist,
I love
yeah.
Gangs of New York.
And Gangs of New York. Yeah.
So good, dude. You've never seen that?
Gangs of New York?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you have seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when it was like, oh, wait a minute. John C. Reilly's like a good actor.
Yeah.
He's not just a goof.
Step
And I'm
Brothers.
still waiting for Will Ferrell to give me his John C. Reilly Gangs of New York version. I don't know.
Return of the King 7 on IMDb
7th best movie?
of all time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What's number one?
Knight?
Godfather.
Where's
The Godfather still number one?
Dark Knight's 3.
Okay.
Shawshank Redemption, sorry. Godfather 2.
Shawshank is such a...
Overrated?
Dude.
Wow. Tyler
It's
calls something
not-
overrated?
It's
That's
not
crazy.
number one.
I
Shawshank
agree.
Redemption, the number one. Like, God, I can wrap my head around Godfather.
can?
Godfather's real good.
That's my number one.
Shawshank is not a number one movie.
It's up there.
What's
but
2?
Godfather.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
3
I
is
missed
The
you.
Dark
I got
Knight,
you.
which I disagree with. Dark Knight is not top 10, I don't think.
It's good.
It's good. It's great.
It's the
great.
best. It's the best superhero movie. Period. But is it the best in the top 5 movies of all time? No, I would say no.
Best superhero movie? I guess it probably
It
is.
is.
I'm surprised there's this much pushback on this. I thought that was like a sure.
Well,
like, I thought that was
probably
pretty
is.
Logan's real
Probably
good.
is. Logan
I
is
like
very good.
Logan a lot. I like
Deadpool's
Deadpools are also very good.
Yeah, but Deadpool's are good, but not like best superhero movie I've ever seen good.
It was so funny though. I
It
had such a
is. No,
great
it is.
time watching
It's-
Deadpool.
I enjoy it a lot.
And you have to watch
but
it multiple times to like, because I didn't think Deadpool 2 was good, like compared to the first one, and then rewatching it and catching all of the jokes because I was just watching on my couch and stuff. And be like, wait a minute, did he say what? And like rewind it and put it. I'm just,
Yeah.
oh, it's so
I'm just
funny.
glad that you're finally giving Ryan Reynolds the credit he deserves after falling asleep in Detective Pikachu. So
I still think that's not a good movie. I like Ryan Reynolds a lot, but like I've fallen asleep to Ryan Reynolds movies more than I've stayed awake for them.
Wow, that's a stat.
Because I'm trying to think, because it's like Detective Pikachu. We watch a ton of them. Like,
Green Lantern.
I don't even remember Green Lantern, but like it was like
You were
Detective
asleep.
Pikachu, the one where he's like the nice guy or fun guy or whatever it is, and he was like in a video game or something.
I don't know. that
Project Adam was a
one.
direct to
yeah,
Netflix.
I remember that. Yeah.
That's what I mean. But I'm just like
Have you noticed
Cool.
that recently, at least I have when looking through Netflix, they seem to be going through like hey, this is like this actor's week. And they're like all their movies are on there. So it was like one
Adam
recent
Sandler?
Pedro Adam
Pascal
Sandler was
week.
all
Yeah,
over it.
he was- yeah.
And it was Jennifer Aniston. And
Yeah.
it was
Huh.
Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. Then it was Ryan Reynolds. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm noticing a trend here where it's like the algorithm's like, hey, we're just gonna give you all this actors' movies like
Yeah.
this week or this month or something, and then it's gonna disappear and it's gonna be someone new after some time.
I think
period.
they're in a room like planning it out, like Jennifer Aniston's next week.
I don't know. Maybe.
Why would they do that? What's the purpose of that, anyways? I don't.
Try to be an algorithm,
Try
right?
to
Like
keep
it's-
things fresh. Although that is my biggest complaint with streaming services, how it's like sometimes when you've seen it on the network or on the streaming service, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go watch that one day. So we actually just had this with me and Miranda. I was like, Miranda, it's now the time we finally watch all the Harry Potter movies. Like she hasn't seen all of them.
oh man,
And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I remember they were on Netflix. We go to Netflix, gone. And I'm like, well, I know I saw them somewhere. What about HBO Max? I was like, maybe it was that. Can't find it. We went through every single streaming service we had to the point where then you start Googling, like, where can I stream these movies? And it's like, oh, it's on Peacock. I'm like, well, I was like,
It was on HBO Max.
It was, yeah,
'Cause
that's-
that's where the special came out.
yeah, and then it was just, and
And
then
it
what
got
was
off.
weird is they still had the special on
Yes.
HBO Max,
Yep.
but not the movies itself. And I'm like, why is it like when you like they're paying for these rights for these movies and they lose them so quick that it's like it's hard to keep track of anything, like where it is,
Yeah.
to watch it. And
That's what
it's-
happened with Friends. Like I was trying to watch Friends like a year ago or something, and Netflix I remember was a big thing. It's like they
Yeah.
paid for Friends,
Yeah.
and then they got rid of it.
Well, Friends in the
Miranda-
Office.
Miranda
Yeah,
just finished Friends. I think it's on Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Prime Video.
It was on
So,
Netflix though.
We still have a nice DVD of that where it's just that red box, that elongated one with like all the little DVDs in there and stuff.
The Friends?
Yeah, all 10 seasons or 10 seasons? Yeah, 10 seasons.
10 seasons.
Yeah.
Is Friends in your top 10?
TV shows?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It has to be.
Me too.
I
think it just makes it in at like 10 or something like that.
I always try to, I always think, is it just nostalgia? Am I a bit like the moment I start watching it, I'm like, no, this is
It's fantastic.
so good.
It is good.
Yeah.
But it's always been a show that I won't watch from beginning to end, like all the seasons, like in like a binge. I'll watch it when it's on, but I never really got like into like the story developments of like the seasons and like you slowly like come in and out of it. Is basically my point.
That's fair. Yeah.
And
I was the exact same way.
Yeah, where other shows were like you could watch like The Office from beginning to end, like if you really wanted to, or Parks and Rec. Some shows like that are better suited for some reason, but for some reason with Friends, it's only like, I don't really need to know every episode or need to see every episode.
Friends does a good job where you can cherry pick it and it's fine.
Yep.
But if you've gone the whole way, then you can kind of find these little inside jokes, but I don't think it takes it as far as a Parks and Rec or even more so an Office. Same thing with like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is in my top 10. Like I still think that show is brilliant, but that specifically is like they always build on it. They found something funny in one episode, and then they're like, "This is going to just be a thing that we just keep calling back to." And I feel like you just see that more in comedies and like callbacks and things like that because they want to do that.
Yeah, especially in like Brooklyn Nine-Nine where they like change locations, like when they go undercover or whatever, or witness protection for like I don't know if they did that for a season or something, but like if you were to jump in at that point,
right,
and it's like Jake and Captain Holt.
Yep.
In like a pool.
Did you see Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I've seen, that's another one. I've seen episodes here and there. So it's funny at times, but for some reason it doesn't grab me like for every episode. Like it's very hit or miss for me.
Captain Holt is in my top 100 characters.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
But speaking to your point, Mike, like when we were kids, like you'd come home from school and like for me, like I would watch like TBS or something.
Yeah.
And you'd watch like Friends, you watch like The Office, and I would see like these random, you're old. You would see like these random episodes, like that's what the culture was. Like TV was actually a thing.
Yeah.
But then years later, I watched Friends like all the way through. Like I kind of knew what was going on, but actually watching it is like, oh wait a minute, like I actually know what the story. It was very interesting.
That's how it was with House. I would catch random episodes of House, and then you start the entire thing, and it's just like, oh,
yeah. There's actually underlying plot lines.
Yeah, I still don't know how I feel about it. I think overall that was the right call. And I think it's very like, Grey's Anatomy-esque. But like in the beginning episodes of House where it was just like, no, the entire episode's about like this one disease or whatever. Like
one case.
Yeah, like that. They went away from that.
Yeah.
But again, how many seasons? Like that had to have been
it's
7 plus, like 8, 9 seasons.
Might be double digits.
Yeah, like I mean, at some point,
I didn't realize it was still going. I was thinking like 6, 7
it's
seasons.
Not still going.
Yeah,
House is definitely done. Yeah,
Grey's Anatomy's still going.
Yeah,
Grey's Anatomy.
I was crazy.
19.
Me and Miranda were just talking about that. We're like, isn't like the medical like? Have they done everything they can do in like that whole segment of like medical shows? So you have like your Scrubs, you have your House, you have your Grey's Anatomy, you have all this nighttime television stuff they're still doing, ER, all that. I'm like, what else are you gonna do? Like.
There's 176 episodes of House, 8 seasons.
Okay.
8
seasons. 2004 to 2012.
They were, if I remember correctly, because I was around college, like where it was, I think season 5 was the last one I bought, and it was just like they were like crawling across the. It was just like,
oh really?
It's getting a little weird, man.
When you said double digits, I was like, oh boy, I didn't realize.
I was close.
You were
8 seasons.
There are not a lot of the shows that can make it back from their slump. I feel like every show has that like season that's just like. Oh, this is pretty bad, right?
Really?
More or less. Like there are exceptions.
I don't think
like
Friends did.
Peaky Blinders was good. Friends
was solid.
But what was
solid,
the
but
slumping season of Peaky Blinders?
I said it didn't.
Oh,
that's what I mean. But Peaky
isn't
isn't so long. I'm saying like once you typically, and this is just me throwing black and white comments on here, but it's like typically after like season 4, like season 4 starts to dip a little bit, maybe season 5, and then if they can correct it and then get an upswing, then suddenly everyone loved it. I think How I Met Your Mother fell into that trap.
Yeah.
I think New Girl fell into that trap where
it.
It's just kind of like it stumbled a little bit and then it picked up and it's like, okay, this is where we're at.
You have like the initial premise, right?
Yeah.
And then you're thinking like after that amount of time, you need something fresh.
You can only tease people for so long. Like it's like, oh, Ross and Rachel, well, they're not, but you can't do that for more than 3 episodes, right? Well, fair enough, but like
that's the worst point you could have made.
But no, because they still got together, broke up, did the whole thing, and like they did it, but then they captured a good way of navigating that.
Were they on a break or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely on a break. Yeah.
But you are right that like once a show falls into a lull, there's very few shows that find a way out of it. Like I think New Girl might have had a lull, but it actually found its way back. Or like trying to think of like another show that had like a really bad. Office was the same way actually. Like after when Michael left, I think it started going down after maybe the second season after Michael was gone, and they were like, all right, we're gonna wrap it up now, and then they found their way back. I think that way.
Yeah,
very rarely do you ever recover. Like Dexter tried, but it never fully got back to what it was.
But again, season 4. So that's the thing.
That was the pinnacle, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then it just fell off a cliff onwards. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like you get that 4-year thing, and then eventually it's just like, okay, well, we can't keep this formula. We have to mix it up. But how do you do that? So I don't know. Like, I mean, I always bring up Smallville. Smallville was bad, like real bad.
Yeah.
And then eventually they're like, oh, maybe we get away from all this mystical stuff and just do it like you're here for Superman. Here, we'll give you Superman type of thing. Like it's
there
just
is mystical stuff in DC though. That's not
no, there is.
crazy.
But they were getting they were like
wild.
there's like cave paintings and like ancient Kryptonian.
You love that
glyphs and
shit.
stuff.
You love the pyramids
It was pretty rough, man. I don't know,
dude. I've been watching Seinfeld, dude.
Yeah,
that show's so good, man.
yeah. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
It's so classic.
I don't think dips.
No, Curb doesn't dip. Larry David's just the GOAT.
Here's the thing. So, Mike, like you know, we're doing like we're assigning out 150 hours of media between us two.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Do I just force him to go into Peaky?
You've never seen Peaky
Peaky
Blinders?
Blinders.
Yes.
But here's the thing.
Well,
how many episodes do you think, like how many hours do you think I need to burn for him to be hooked and be like, okay, I know I'll watch this? That's a tough one, right? Because it's like, okay, do I do the whole first season?
a season and a half,
I was thinking I count however many episodes till Tom Hardy gets on screen, because he needs to watch the first episode of Tom Hardy.
Yeah, which is towards the end of the first season anyway, right?
No, I think it's like halfway through 2.
Like 4.
It's just that's a lot of hours.
He hasn't appeared till season 2?
I don't think so.
Oh, I need to rewatch the first couple of seasons when the movie comes out. Now that is a good point. I was thinking, well, it depends on, are you still in the phase of like, we're going to punish each other, or are we actually going to give good media?
I've never punished him. I want to be very clear. I was punished, never punished back.
You were punished severely.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Freddy Got Fingered?
No, and I don't think I want to.
It's a gem.
I'm sure it is.
I think you should watch it just... Like, I feel like you're a more cultured person when you watch that. Like, you've experienced the depths of hell.
It's on Plex. You need to hit it and tell me how far you get.
That is a great challenge. That's an amazing challenge.
Keeping in mind, I had to finish it.
Maybe we'll.
I don't think he makes it 5 minutes.
I think you
watch it with Miranda. I am curious what she thinks of that film. Actually,
okay.
Oh my gosh,
she has to hate it.
That'd be amazing.
See, I don't know. Like, Miranda is an enigma wrapped in a question, but like, she can't
appreciates weird movies. So like, if it's weird, it might work.
The way I describe this, Mike, is you ever seen like The Room?
Yeah,
that's like it's like funny because it's
funny
just
how
so
bad it is. Yeah,
mm-hmm. This is the most brilliant film because it just doesn't get to that funny point. It's just bad.
It's like just teetering the edge.
It's like a formula for how to do something horribly.
Okay.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Bad movie.
It's a bad movie.
But still a fun ride.
Mm-hmm.
This thing was like...
You haven't seen it. He said he didn't see it.
I was ashamed to have it on the screen where like I literally took it off and put it on my phone so Chelsea didn't have to watch it.
I mean, I think maybe going back to the original question, I think he answers at least a season and probably like a season, like 3 episodes. It's season and 2 episodes before he's...
Yeah, but how many episodes are? It's 8 episodes in a season or something like that. So like, I'm gonna be burning like a dozen hours.
I think, right?
I don't remember.
I think most of them are 6 to 8.
Yeah.
The last one was 6, right? Or was it 8?
I honestly don't remember.
Jeez.
I thought it was like
this
8.
This is bad.
Yeah.
I get a ton of Peaky Blinders clips, but I haven't actually watched like the episodes in a while.
Well, so the problem is, I think you'll watch it because you aren't against Peaky Blinders, right?
No.
So like you recognize like, oh, everyone's saying it's a good show. I'll probably like it, whatever.
Yeah, I would say it's like top 3 favorite shows of mine.
Yeah, it's
ever.
Oh, wow.
It's low on relatively for being like the top 3 of your favorite shows. Like it's relatively low on like IMDb, but it's up there
in the
for me
top
too,
100,
right?
I think.
Definitely in the top 100.
Yeah.
Like I think it's 70 maybe. Like it was surprisingly low, I thought.
It does start a bit slow, but same. So you can say the same exact thing about Breaking Bad, and that's the part where it's like it's always hard to like come out of the gates and explain the characters in the world.
Breaking Bad doesn't start slow.
Oh, it does.
Well, the first episode does.
First like 3 episodes until the bathtub. That's a crawl. You got to crawl.
I don't think it's that
you got
bad.
to crawl
I think you're
before you run.
misremembering. Dude, the first episode is like the one where he thinks he's gonna get caught and he like almost kills himself, but the revolver wasn't loaded.
But to be honest, I tried rewatching Breaking Bad the first time. I couldn't do it. I was like, I don't get why people like this. And then someone forced me, was like, you need to keep going. Just get to like episode 5, episode 6, and then you're starting to get lulled in.
Yeah.
And then you're hooked at that point. But it took me I want to say 4 or 5 episodes before I was like, oh, okay, now I see why people like want me to.
But you can't do that now because you know where it goes. So even now, if you rewatch, you're like, no, it can't be that bad. And you're rewatching it in the back of your mind, you know, like
exactly
his face is gonna get blown up in half or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not.
But going into
it,
going into it with like blind. It's hard to have
Peaky
somebody
Blinders?
sit through it. Well, I was thinking we're Breaking Bad, but even Peaky Blinders, I think Peaky Blinders, the first couple episodes, you're like, okay, I get it, but it's a little slow. And then when it finally starts like sprinting or running towards the end of the first season, you're like, oh, this is really good. And they basically have a very similar, the pacing in the other seasons is a lot better, I think, where the first season starts off a bit too slow. But it's because they have to, show you the characters, and then you start noticing the development in the other seasons. So it's a great show.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the movie.
So kind of on because we're talking about TV, Last of Us finished up.
Yes.
9 episodes.
Yes.
What would you rank it overall?
In my like favorite shows ever?
Yeah. Like does he even does he breach that?
I think it's a little early because it's only 1 season, so it's hard to put anything that only has 1 season in like your top 5 or anything.
Interesting. Okay,
I would say it was brilliantly done. I applauded almost every change from the game that they went for. There's a few that I maybe was like, I don't know how that's going to play out, and it was also from Miranda's perspective, and even Miranda's family was getting into it. They were like falling in love with it, and they're like, like literally her mom's asking me like, is the game like this? And I'm like, yeah, it's very narrative driven story. And she's like, I might want to play it. And I'm like, oh my god, like that just to show that, I'm like, that's a pretty impressive for a show. So I think like by far it is the best video game adaptation I've ever seen put on movie or show.
Ooh.
Period. And I would say I'd rank the first season like a 9.5 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
Now, where I'm going, the real interesting thing for me is where do they go from here? And because they have already hinted that it's going to be multiple seasons for the second game, and then I'm like, well, don't turn into like a Squid Game where it's like you had a good thing, but you're going to ruin it with like, oh, we're going to drag this out to 4 seasons. Like I think 3 seasons tops is like what you have to set yourself to. And I could see I could potentially see 3 seasons for total for the whole show, 2 seasons for game 2. But anything more than that, you're like, okay, because that was the one thing where I was surprised that throughout the first season, they sure didn't want to talk about, the actual travel itself. Like it's like Boston to Kansas City. And it was like, that was the one complaint. I was like, oh, where's Pittsburgh? They bundled it. They bundled it into the Kansas City story, and it was still really well done where all the key things from Pittsburgh in the game were used in Kansas City. So it still worked out really well. And obviously you have to condense a, 30-hour game into essentially 9 hours or so, we'll say, because each episode's anywhere from like an hour to hour 45. But I think they did it really well. Any risk they took, they nailed storyline wise. I definitely think it is by far the best show I've seen recently. Like I would say, like if they do that again in season 2, we are talking like Peaky Blinders territory for me.
Wow.
We're getting to that point. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean,
look, okay, here's the thing, dude. I am so sick of Last of Us stuff because they like remade the game a million times. Tyler did force me to watch it, even against my wishes.
I got him to episode 3. I feel like that was like, if I'm going to get you,
look, it's very good. It's a very good show.
Yeah.
Solid. The acting's great. Story's great. I loved the first episode. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't keep going with it. I was like, yeah. I played the game, dude. I know where this goes. I don't know. I didn't have any.
I remember it apparently
but I get
not
it.
enough of the game.
I was saying the same
Really?
thing. There was elements towards the.
You know what? I feel the same way. Yeah.
So you only got to episode 3 though?
Yeah, but episode 3, I was like, that wasn't in the game,
That
right?
was a completely different.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not crazy.
That was one of the risks that they took, and that's where I think they nailed it.
Yeah.
But
they used like context clues from the game to like
so
craft
like
that,
they used 2 letters.
There was
that you pick up.
all that, and there was comments that were made throughout by Bill. So like it was leading.
It wasn't something that's just totally
but
left field, right?
But to do an episode solely on that shows the brilliancy of the IP, where it's like, and I've always said this: The Last of Us is not. It's not about the end of the world. It's not about the pandemic or even the zombies. It's about the people in the world and how they cope with it and live with it. And that's why I think it's so brilliant. And why it's the perfect game for TV. And they essentially proved that. But I will say, like Tyler was saying, there were parts, and maybe it's just been a while since I played the first one, because I think the first game came out in 2013. So I probably played it
before that.
Maybe. I think it was 2013. I thought.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I played it when it first came out for a bit. I might have replayed it one time. I didn't do the remake, so I wasn't that like worn out from it.
Right.
So going through the show, I was sitting there going, was this part of the game or is this something that they switched? And then my favorite part was afterwards, you would get comparisons that they would publish of showing how the game did it versus how the show did it. And you would see subtle differences in some cases, but there's maybe, 2 or 3 major differences that I can remember in the first season versus the game. And the one that we've all played 2, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Though my concern
terrible game
is, I don't think it's a terrible game. I definitely didn't enjoy it as much as the first, but I think that's what I will say to that. And me and Tyler were talking about this. I think your opinion on the ending of the first game alters your opinion on the second game. Absolutely. What side are you on? If you are pro Joel, or pro the decision, and you understand it from that perspective, I definitely think you go into, the second game going, it was okay, or I didn't like this part. But if you open up your mind a bit, I think people will enjoy it a lot more for it. And I will admit, I thought the same thing when I played through the second one, where I was like, it's too much.
Sure.
But I'll be curious to see how the show does it, because it's, we'll have to see. But I think the major change the one gripe I have with the show is the fact that it's no spores or no breathing elements. And like, I get that, like, you can't have characters in gas masks like the entire season. So like, I get why they did it. And I don't even necessarily hate the way that the fungus is kind of connected and all that stuff. It's an interesting concept, but not something that I would have expected. But there's a crucial scene in the second one that I think we all know, where I'm like, how are they going to do that? And like,
who knows?
And it's like, if they completely skip it, it's like, that's a pretty big like part where I'm like, I can't believe they're just going to not leave that out. There's multiple scenes that come to mind, because there's one with like gas mask breaks.
Right.
And like, that's a crucial scene too.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I'm very interested to see how they do it. But I think the second season will be more, probably story development, they'll probably go a little bit slower out the gates and go more about like, life in Jackson and all that stuff. And you probably won't get to like the actual main story arc until probably middle of season 2 towards the 3rd season, I would guess. But I really hope they don't try to extend it much longer than that.
I wonder, do they split it almost like the game where like season 2 is still Ellie, season 3 Abby,
and then season 4 is the
no, like they. I would argue like Abby is. Well, I guess technically you go back.
Well, you
to
could
Ellie,
do a
but,
whole season on Abby's trek.
Right.
Theoretically, you could,
right?
Well,
but the question is,
That's what I'm saying.
would people like that? Or are you dragging it out too long? Because I
That's
think
what the game did.
You could also do
Tyler
it.
loves that.
You could do it in 3-4 episodes.
It's his favorite game of all time.
No. Hold on. Like, here's the thing. I was very, very happy with how they did the finale of Last of Us because they made it like Joel is this ruthless, like, just no holds bar. Like, I'm just going, like, literally, like, any other scenario is literally like, hey, we have an active shooter in spoiler. I mean, the game's been out, right? Like everyone knows kind of where it went, but it's like, no, you have this active shooter in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty crazy. Like any rational human being would just be like, he's a monster, right? Like it's just like I'm happy they did it that way because you get the both sides of it, but then they don't try to paint it in any better light almost.
Yeah.
Like you see him where they're just like, no, like, oh, I'm down. Like, this guy is not a threat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you shoot him once and it's just like, well, now I guess I'm going to finish you off with my knife. Like he was just like, you're brutal, man.
Yeah. No, and
Like-
I like that, like you said, they didn't really show that element of Joel until the last part of the 7th episode when he's interrogating the people in that scene to try to get Ellie back.
I guess he doesn't kill the female doctors. I think that is one thing.
No,
That's one misstep
yeah.
where he should have.
But I think in general, like you said, like the show, and I said that to Miranda, I was like, I'm surprised how like they didn't really paint the QZs in the negative light that the game talks about and why people like were trying to get out of the QZs and Fedra and that whole element. That was a bit of a, they talked about Fedra, but they didn't really go deep into it like I thought they would. They didn't really show Joel in a really, monster-like mentality until the end of the 7th episode when he's interrogating the people just like in the game, and then the 8th episode in the hospital, right? So that was interesting how they approached it. But I think I really liked, like you said, how they showed it. It was very fast-paced, which was, I think, the other surprise that I think me and you talked about, where it's like, I'm shocked it was only 45 minutes. I thought it was going to be like hour and a half, and like we're going to really talk about going to the hospital and such. But I think it was really well done. It's just now, like I said, where do you go from here? Like it was a very well wrapped up story. Like you condensed the first game beautifully into a season. Now what? I think is the important thing.
I think you just follow the game, man. I think you can do it, and I think you could do it in one season, but it would be very fast, and I don't think it would be as weighted. Like I hated the fact that you go through half the game, then get control of Abby, basically lose your inventory, lose everything, and effectively start a new game with a character that you presumably hate.
Yeah.
But then they have that long to get you in. Like, I can kind of, okay, I get it. I get where you're coming from. I can see it. And then eventually by the end, I mean, me anyway, I'm like extremely sympathetic for both parties. I understand why everyone did what they did on like Joel and Ellie's side. I understand Abby's side, but it's just like, to weave that in, I actually agree with them. I don't think you could do that in a season.
No, I agree with you there.
And have it impactful the way that the game was.
But please don't make it like 4 or 5 seasons.
Oh, I completely agree with you there too.
Yeah.
I think if you were going to do a seasonal thing, like, and it's bizarre because I think they could have made this into a movie too. It would have been like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
But you probably could get there.
It'd be a bit tight, but yeah.
But
I think
like,
three.
do
I think
that
3
movie
seasons
and then
is the number.
freaking make a Uncharted TV show. That's all I'm saying. You could do it.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I agree with you. I think the only thing I didn't really like like they made that new character. It was just kind of like there and just murdering people and stuff and like out for blood. Who got killed by like the big zombie guy?
Oh, yeah. She was, but I thought there was someone similar in the game who
I
like
looked
took
it up
over as
and they were
responsible
just
for
like-
Fedra. No,
Yeah, it was like they just kind of she's just new.
it's just,
It's like, okay.
but there was somebody after Sam and them though too.
Maybe in a generalist way.
This is exactly what we were talking about. Like this is the part where I'm like, I'm having trouble remembering these parts of the game and the details. And I remember it was like Miranda's dad was like, oh, so this upcoming episode's a flashback? And I was like, no, I don't think it is. It was the mall episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did I not remember that this was a flashback? So I kind of played it off as like, oh, I'm just trying to throw him off the scent, you know? Meanwhile, I'm like,
well, that's the DLC, right? Like that was after the game.
Yep.
So that wasn't part of the original game. That was the DLC that came out where you kind of got that flashback or whatever. I thought all of that was really well done. Like you cared about all the characters and stuff. I thought largely it was good. But I didn't like her and the end of the finale, it seemed like the previous episode, like from the end of the previous episode to now, it was like Joel was like overly friendly. Like he was getting there. Like he was like kind of breaking and she was warming up, like they were warming up to each other and stuff. But then it seemed like there was more of a gap where he was just like, oh, hey, wouldn't this be cool if we did this? Or hey, like let me hear some jokes or whatever. It was just a hair too much.
But he does that in the game in that journey though too.
But he hadn't in the show. So I think the thing is like there was just a little bit of a gap of time that we didn't get to see, and he was a little too. I mean, obviously he was healed and everything, and like, but I just felt like that was a little odd because he went like way friendlier, and she went way more like serious and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you got to keep in mind the event that she went through in episode 7 and going into what was 8.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish there was some sort of bridge there on
longer.
Like how does she cope with that, and how do they get to the finale?
And I think you almost like we said, I thought a way that you could have done that is just to extend the finale out longer. Because 40, I mean, it might have been the shortest episode of them all.
It was very.
It was
quick.
like it was the only one of the few that was under an hour, and I don't know if there was one that was less than 50 minutes. So like it's literally the finale is it, and I get why after seeing it they did like like almost like a montage. Where it's like you kind of said John Wick which like, it worked. It was good. It was just I'm surprised the journey wasn't drawn out a little bit longer. Like you could have added maybe more 30 minutes more into the whole season or 45 minutes into the whole season of like, okay, here's how grueling this journey is going from coast to coast basically, and what the characters are going through.
I mean, there's 2 scenes, right? Like you have your giraffe scene and you have the hospital scene.
Yeah,
like that's it.
On the West Coast from Jack. Yeah, that's the thing. But even that, like even before that, like I said, you skip Pittsburgh, you go straight to Kansas City, and you go to Kansas City, Wyoming, over an episode, and you had no idea how that happened. And I'm like, well, that seems like it's a pretty long. What did they do? Walk? They walked and they did say it was months later or something, but still, it's like,
yeah, it could have filled in the gaps a little bit.
But overall, I think it it was a very good show.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, you'll never see it, but
I'll never see it. No,
it's
in the top 20 or something. I think on IMDb.
I think it got bumped to 29th or something like that.
29th?
I think it's 29th, 23rd, something like that.
It has a 9 on IMDb, which is very good.
I mean, overall, I think the lowest review that I saw for a lot of the places was like a 9 per episode. So yeah,
it's not Planet Earth 2, but like it's up there.
Yeah, but I thought, I mean, the episode you left off on is the interesting part for me because episode 3, I was like, wow. Like this show is,
but then the next episode wasn't as good.
No, I mean episode 3 might have been the best episode in the whole season. That's why I'm surprised that he stopped there. Like,
I'm very stubborn.
Yeah.
You stick to your morals,
I was like, I'm not gonna watch this show. Tyler's gonna force me.
Yeah, I got fingered.
You want to get me to watch a whole show? You're gonna have to burn your hours, buddy.
I don't think I have to with Peaky. I think I got you there. I think if I forced you to do Andor,
I think you underestimate my spite.
Yeah, he's
for Peaky,
he's gonna dig in.
Maybe. That's fine. That's fine.
Until you use all your hours, and he's gonna be like, "Hey, I went back and watched Peaky. It was really good."
yeah. Once this is over,
he was like, "Hey, you should play Rune King. It's really good." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'll play it." And then I play it, and like it's real good.
I have a very toxic approach to this agreement.
It's not. Yeah.
No, it's very bad.
It's like you like Freddy Finger. You're gonna love Swiss Army Man.
Did you see Andor?
No.
That's good.
So me and Miranda have been talking about like where do we go next for series after we finish The Last of Us, and we were thinking of moving more to Disney Plus because we haven't really done. I tried doing Obi-Wan. I couldn't finish it myself. I do want to do Mandalorian, but it's obviously a big commitment. It's a lot of seasons. And before I do it, I want to get Miranda on board too, because I'm not the type of person that's going to watch like a full show by myself, I guess.
Okay.
So it's like I'd try to get the buy-in, but
I honestly, dude, like Andor, like if you watched Andor, you're gonna want to watch what's the movie Rogue One. You're gonna want to watch that like, right after.
Okay.
Andor's it's so good.
I thought Rogue One was good. It didn't grab me as much as other people said.
No, but having his backstory before watching it, it's like, I actually give a crap about this guy.
Right.
Now. Yeah. Anyway,
You should watch The Sopranos.
Actually, when you forced him to watch The Godfather, I wanted to rewatch the Godfather series because that's good too. It's been a very long time.
I'm so happy you liked that. I was very worried you were going to be like, you think this is the best movie ever made, you stupid idiot.
I think Departed is better.
I like Departed more.
Yeah.
Departed is my favorite movie.
but
I think The Godfather is objectively a better movie.
I was curious how you would approach that. Like if it did it hold up?
He texted me. He's like, "Yeah, watching it on my lunch break." I'm like, "Fuck." Doesn't give a shit about this.
It definitely held up.
Whose lunch break is 2 hours?
Well, he pulled a Harbin where he split it up.
Split it up because I had to get it done before podcast. So it was like I guess it was it that day? Maybe it was Thursday. Like
no, you were doing it that week. You were doing it. I was trying to get it. You didn't rush it. I don't think.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was glad you liked it though. That was based on a book, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I was like, not sure. I was like pretty sure, but then I was like, am I?
I mean, it was like sure? The only reason I'm like, well, it is the golden age of cinema.
Or no, wait, am I thinking of Mad Max? Because
Mad Max is also everything good is based on a book. Lord of the Rings. Ever hear that?
Yeah,
yeah.
I have that. I told you about my Lord of the Rings books coming.
No.
Oh my gosh, I got the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Hobbit, and the Silmarillion, whatever it is.
Silmarillion.
Leather bound, pages stitched.
Ooh.
Gold, like 24 karat gold trim, silk bookmark. They're pretty nice. Yeah, they're pretty nice.
How much were they?
$400.
Yeah.
$444. But I also got Dune with it. So
I was so excited.
And then I just bought all the Star Wars Thrawn books.
I've been staring at 2 guitars at Sweetwater in my cart for quite some time. And
didn't you just get a guitar? Oh no, you got your amp finally.
Amp, yeah. It was like COVID purchase that took me 8 months. Now it's
I swear I told you just go to was it Sweetwater?
Sweetwater's where I ended up buying it from.
Because that's where we get all our podcast stuff.
Yeah, no, Sweetwater's great. I love Sweetwater.
You were trying to find a lefty amp, right?
No, I bought it. So I bought the amp. I did a lot of research on the amp and which one I wanted. Bought it on, I think, Guitar Center. And this guy, it came to the point where it was like 4 or 5 months later, it was on back order. And this guy named Patrick would call me every day. He'd be like, "Hey, it's Patrick from Guitar Center. Just wanted to call to give you an update. Marshall is still working on shipping that amp to us. But hopefully I'll have better news for you next week." And then it'd always be like Wednesday, and I would answer for him like, "Hi, Patrick. Like, hey,
sport.
Sorry to tell you this." And then like eventually, I was just like, "This is getting ridiculous." So I canceled it, went on to Sweetwater, ordered it, and it arrived like a week later, like 5 days,
That's
not
hilarious.
even. And the guy in Sweetwater does everything so different. We're like, they'll call you and be like, "Hey, is there anything else that you're looking for?"
I was going to ask you, did you get a rep?
Like, I don't remember my rep. He's not.
You remember Patrick.
I think his name was Jason, but I don't know his number. Or like, I don't know how I'm going to do the guitar, which I probably should because I actually added the one to my cart the other day. I was getting ready to purchase it, but then I was like, but there's no add-on for like a nice case to put it in.
Okay.
Because it's a pre-order guitar. So they're coming out, but they're not out yet. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I just not?
Guitars don't come with cases?
Usually they'll come in like a cardboard box that has like a seal, like it's wrapped up and secured. But like
nice guitars don't come in cases.
Yeah. Okay. Typically you want to order like,
you get a shitty
you
one.
get a hard shell case with it and they put it in that. And then it's a lot more secure that way. And then they box that up and basically, but
you ever been to the store in Wexford? Right up here on 19.
It's been a really long time.
My buddy works
since I've been in
there.
that one.
I should ask him if they have any, because you need a lefty.
Left hand, but this is the issue.
Okay.
So there's 2 guitars that are of interest to me.
Okay.
It's a Gibson Les Paul. I've always wanted a Gibson. That's like my dream guitar.
Cha-ching.
That and a Gibson SG, exactly, left-handed.
Goodbye.
You want to guess? You want to guess how much that one is, Tyler?
I always guess high, and then it like 5. It's 5,000.
5? No.
Okay, well that's what I mean. I have no concept.
You naive child.
It's not played by Jimi Hendrix himself or anything.
Buddy, I don't know. Ask me how much a silencer.
This is a
Like,
a new Gibson Les Paul. It's I think 1,600 for that one.
Okay.
And it's wine red. It's a gorgeous color. I love it. So I know like this is gonna be my Gibson when I get it. And I'm actually, my dream guitar has always been Gibson SG. But for some reason, I'm not really as interested in Gibson SG now that there's this Gibson Les Paul that has this like beautiful color to it.
Yeah.
The other one is a baritone guitar, which for my style of music that I like to listen to, I have to have a baritone if I want to play half the bands that I like to listen to these days. Because the tunings are so down low, like drop A sharp, and you can't really do it on a Epiphone.
Pulling off A
Les Paul.
sharps and one.
I'm not as well versed in the music. I didn't write intros to podcasts or anything, but
an A sharp is just a B natural, buddy.
Yeah, but you can't drop tune a guitar to drop B or drop A sharp. In that case,
I only speak in B flat
and keep it in tune with like an Epiphone. You need a longer neck so that the strings can bend down that low and not become like I'm playing like a broken guitar. So that's the idea. So that I will get a baritone guitar probably first because that's obviously a little bit cheaper. It's going to be like $800 for that.
Oh,
but
you can get 2 of those.
Exactly. Yeah. So come bonus time, I'll probably be pulling the trigger on at least one of those. The question is which one.
So, you just said get the baritone. Whichever one Sweetwater can get you first.
Probably the baritone. But that's the thing is like I want a case for it. Don't just ship me,
So you're telling me that you have to have a case that's specific to that guitar? Like they don't make like a generic case?
For most guitars, yeah, it will work. But baritones are much longer than a usual guitar.
But they don't make like cases for that already?
They do. It's just like for some reason, like when I added it to the cart, maybe because it was a pre-order, all the recommended items were like guitar cables and stuff. There was no case that went with it. Oh. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a bummer.
If you only had a rep that you could call immediately.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, when this is coming out and when I'm ready to make the purchase, I might just try to find Jason's number. I'm going to call him and be like, hey,
watch
Jason.
His name's like Chad.
Yeah.
I'll report back what his name is. I'm pretty sure it's Jason, but we'll see.
I wonder what Jason's doing, man. Sounds like a cool guy.
I got to look way back for Mike's call. My voicemails. Yeah.
And A sharp's a B flat, actually. Yeah. Fuck that up.
Exactly. Yeah.
But they never call it an A sharp. Maybe it's different in guitar world. Like we would never call something an A sharp.
Would you call it B flat?
Yes.
Why though?
Well, for brass, we live in B flat
and
world.
Mm-hmm.
And are you clarinet? Is a B flat instrument? Yeah.
I think when it comes to guitar, usually they will, when they talk drop tunings, they'll typically stay in sharps. So like.
Yeah,
it will still like drop. They'll do like drop D sharp, but it's basically drop E minor, right? Or like E flat, basically.
Right. Like you get so many sharps at that point that the flat equivalent is just less changes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like,
and
that's why they don't do A sharp because it's like one of the last.
But it is interesting. It's like a fundamental problem, I guess, with rock and roll these days where, like in the 80s and 90s, everyone was in like standard or like, Metallica was really heavy. They're in drop D.
Yeah.
Or someone might be in drop C.
Yeah.
Now it's like you got bands like, we're in drop A. Like you might as well be playing a bass guitar.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
And it's like, it sounds really good. It's really creative. Like there's some unique things you can do with the tunings now, but everyone's in different tunings. So it's like, if you're ever like, I'm not this type of player at all because I'm left-handed, so I have the perfect excuse. But it's like, play me something. And the first question would be like, well, what song do you want to hear and what tuning is it? Because then it's going to take you like 5-10 minutes to figure out what do I need to do to play this song.
Right.
There's not many standard tunings people like anymore, like your John Mayers and stuff. But that's about it.
I mean, he's doing all right for himself.
He's a fantastic guitar player.
He's
very he's very good. Not my style to listen to, but I do appreciate his talent. Right,
dude. The crazy thing is half the people on TikTok are like insanely talented.
Yeah.
There's just like no one.
Guitar's like sax,
But you're
though,
never-
dude.
you're
I
never
feel
gonna-
like saxophone's like so easy to feel like someone's good at it.
Oh,
You know
fair
what I
enough.
mean?
There's a saxophone guy that does solos for like random songs. And that's his thing on TikTok. Is like,
Yeah.
here's a sax solo that this song has no business having or whatever.
Right.
And he just goes off and does it. It sounds really good. When he
No,
does
I
it.
mean, look, I'm sure they're amazing. I'm just saying, I feel like guitar is in the same realm
my
as
father-in-law
You
does
can.
sax. And
I think
just
you're right. You can.
pooping all
Yeah, he'll
over
take
him.
offense to that,
Yeah.
by the way. Dude, sax is the recorder equivalent.
Oh my god!
I would
You
say-
better not be here when he's here next.
man,
Guitar is probably more difficult than most like handheld instruments in a sense of like there's so many different styles and ways that you can learn to play it.
Yeah.
That, you know, like you can fake it till you make it with guitar, where like you could be really good at one genre or like one song, but where you see like depth where people can play like blues style or country or like pinch harmonics and metal and like all that stuff. That's really impressive. Shredding, like solos and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. And I
Yeah.
am very ignorant when it comes to the string world in general. So
Yeah.
take everything I say with a grain of salt, but that's just my armchair analysis.
Yeah, sure.
Of guitar
Hey, I
players.
mean, you are the expert. You did go to school for it, so
Dude, guitar players are like, they're in their own universe, man.
it's the sexy instrument.
They're
Like,
cool kids with a
100%.
band club.
Singing one, then probably guitar, and then piano 3, I would say.
Yeah.
For what?
Getting laid.
Oh, you think?
Yes.
Piano over.
No, piano's 3rd.
No, I know, but like
What's
piano
for
over
though?
like.
Where do you put
bass
for?
or-
Because I would say saxophone comes in.
Drums,
You think drums over like a sax or a brass instrument?
probably.
Really?
I don't think piano.
Dude, I bet you a bunch of people don't even know what a saxophone is.
I feel like most people know what a saxophone is.
Kind of, but you wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't be able to point it out and be like, "Oh, that's a saxophone."
Yeah, I think they. Oh man,
You think so?
We gotta find
No.
a way to do this.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
What instrument is this?
Ask someone on the street, like,
What a saxophone
yeah,
is?
yeah.
I feel like saxophone is
Think
the
you're
easiest one
overestimating.
to recognize
Yeah.
of the brass instruments besides trumpet.
No, trumpet's
Trumpet's one,
easily.
then saxophone, and maybe trombone.
Saxophone's not a brass instrument though, so
Well, yeah, you know what I mean though.
no, I don't.
Okay.
It's different with family. Is it the most
you have to fuck on a
recognizable
weed.
woodwind? Maybe not, because I feel like people know flutes.
Yeah,
people
I feel
know
like-
flutes.
I feel like people
Dude,
would
ever
mistake
since
flutes
some-
for piccolos and all that stuff. Like there's a lot of traps
right?
there.
Like if you put a flute
Yeah.
or a piccolo next to each other, same with like an oboe and a clarinet together.
Yeah.
Like technically you have an alto sax, so like that is essentially
You have an
a
alto,
golden-
barry, tenor. Like you can
Yeah,
have
but I'm
different
saying like
saxes.
if you have a saxophone, that I feel like that is.
If someone called a piccolo a flute, I would allow that.
Oh,
That
well,
counts.
okay. I didn't know you were just being willy nilly with this kind of stuff.
Well,
But I feel like the
they're
shape-
not going to be like, oh, that's an alto saxophone or that's a barry saxophone.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is they're going to be like, that's a saxophone.
Yeah.
I feel like every kid book, if you're talking about instruments, there's a sax on
There's a sax?
some
Yeah.
picture. Yeah.
I'll give you trumpet. Trumpet would be the most
See,
recognizable.
I-
Then saxophone.
I'd be
I
like,
don't even know about that.
well,
You don't think people are not going
trumpet's
to
got to be
recognize
up there.
trumpets?
Trumpets are up there, but I can't.
Trumpets are
it's
so basic. It's just, you know.
No,
like-
I know, but it's hard for me to believe that somebody would know what a trumpet is and not know what a saxophone is. You're
probably
vice
right.
versa. Like I feel like you either know an instrument or you're like, I've never seen this before in my life.
We gotta do this. We gotta go onto the street with like photos and say,
Just give it to
What
Nate.
is
He'll
this?
go talk
Hey.
to everyone in Thornhill. What did we do? We did something like that.
Greatest sitcom.
It's great sitcom. And
I said,
you asked us
I
to
did.
find
I
us.
said
do that,
Seinfeld, and you guys yelled at me.
It's up there.
It's very funny,
Yeah.
and it's clever, dude. It's clever. It's so clever.
What else do we have? We had to talk about our top 5. Do we have time for a top 5?
Oh, jeez.
We have 15 minutes.
this is an amazing
15 minutes.
we touched a lot of topics already. So
Welcome.
Yeah.
To the couch.
The couch. Yeah.
We could do it real quick.
Yeah. I mean, we only
See
have.
if we got-
speed run?
Yeah, 15 minutes.
All right. So, speaking about The Last of Us, which is on HBO Max.
Yeah.
yes.
We live in an era of streaming services. We were just talking about that today. Don't you think that's better though? Like rather than having to pay this extremely high cable bill for like you're not going to watch 90% of the channels, you pick what you want to watch.
Yes
How
and no.
high is the cable bill?
Hundreds of dollars
Yeah.
a month.
Hundreds?
Yes.
It could be between $100 and $200 a month on average.
Yeah, but even $100 isn't
Even like basic cable with internet's like 80. So
100 a month is way more than any streaming service.
Yeah.
That's all the streaming services.
Some families some families are probably paying over $200.
You pick what you
That's
want.
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
For cable, internet, phone.
I've
thing.
never.
Yeah.
We paid for TV once. The very first year we lived together, and I was
we paid for it bundled in with a townhome once. It's like an ancillary fee. It was $165, and I was literally convinced that almost 90% of that was Comcast bullshit. Like, and it's like, what do you need maintenance for? It's like you don't have a pool anymore.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? Cutting the grass? And it's like that's gonna be $20 a month per townhome. Get the fuck out of here. But
it's expensive, man.
And now I heard that's even higher now. Now I heard it's like almost like $180, $190 a month.
That's more than our HOA.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's wild. Renting's wild, man. I couldn't imagine.
Anyways, I don't have rent either.
Yeah. That's good for you.
I thought you were going to transition back to the top 5.
Yeah.
To the what?
The top 5 there. I wasn't expecting you to go back, be like, oh.
No, I wanted to
rent.
stick the needle in real quick.
Yeah. Thanks.
Anyways, so we're doing top 5 streaming services.
Yeah.
My contention is if you pay for a streaming service, you're a sucker. But
what's the alternative? You're talking.
Oh, it's all fun and games.
Sail
till
the high
Netflix
seas.
comes for your password now.
Yeah.
You know
what do you mean?
the password sharing debates.
Oh no, I don't share. I sail the high seas. I get my
Yeah.
Athenas and
just pirates everything.
Yeah.
whoa, that's hearsay.
Oh, okay. We weren't saying that. So this just turns into me and Mike saying what our top streaming.
No,
services are.
I'm in.
You don't like a Crunchyroll? You don't want to put a little Crunchy?
Crunchyroll's gotten a lot better. We can definitely touch on Crunchyroll because they merged. It used to be several different. You opened the Pandora's box here.
I saw it and
They
I was like,
used to-
I should have done that.
They used to
That's
have a lot of
fair.
different streaming services,
magnets.
and it's hard to find like everything. But a lot of stuff, especially like the most popular stuff's on Crunchyroll now.
So Crunchyroll was a I don't know. What is that? Like an organization of a bunch of other streaming? Did I hear you right or no?
No. It used to be like there used to be several different streaming platforms for that. Like HBO Max used to have like a bunch of stuff.
Oh, okay. So you're saying there
But
was
now
multiple
a lot of it's
anime
consolidated
things. I got you.
into
I'm
Crunchyroll,
with
so you can find a lot of your stuff at Crunchyroll. I think it's a lot better now
All right.
because I think they bought out something else, and I forget what it was.
Top 5 streaming. All right. I got it up on the notes.
All right, Mike, give us one.
How do you guys do this? You go 5-1, or
Well,
just,
you
you
just-
just
We
throw
bring
throw
one
everything
up.
out and then we whittle it down.
Well, I think
And
you
then
got you got to go. We'll start with the OG Netflix.
Netflix.
Right? So I think
Yep.
Netflix has to be discussed.
Yep.
I still think quality of what their originals are has to be, commended for, they're really starting it and everyone started chasing them now. And that's why you have such like a good field of it. So I think Netflix is certainly, in the discussion in your top part, I would assume. It'll be interesting to see how different it is because I already kind of know where I think I was going to go with this. I think there's going to be one that there's going to be a huge difference between where we rank certain ones. So we'll see.
So you really like Netflix originals?
Yes, I would say most Netflix originals, especially TV series, are very good. And there's a reason.
Interesting.
There's a reason why Netflix is the king of the streaming services.
So-
and I think it's for that reason.
What are your
Now,
favorite Netflix originals? I'm like trying to think of a good one.
I think Stranger Things, Peaky Blinders,
Cards.
House of Cards. Oh God, there's so many that I'm starting to lose
There
track.
were
Peaky Blinders
so
is
many.
Netflix original?
No, you will admit the newer ones, it's
Yeah.
harder to do. And that's the thing, right? They are the original kings. They're having to continually innovate. And that's certainly something that I don't think they're as good as they used to be at. But they still deserve,
They're killing things. That's the problem.
Yes.
It's because you they keep going 3 seasons and they're like, all right,
Mindhunter was one of those.
Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah, Santa Clarita Diet.
Arcane's
all
on there.
those. Yeah, Arcane. That was a Netflix original. Yeah,
That's really good.
So in the interest of time, then do we just start list? So Netflix is obviously one. Do we want to list out the ones that we're just talking about, and then as we
yeah. And then we could decide to
You're
rank.
saying
That's-
Netflix is on the list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I
Sure.
thought we were
Yeah.
doing. I didn't know we were
Yeah.
ranking, but I was
yeah,
just
we don't
throwing
need
out-
we don't need to rank
Yeah.
yet, but it's just like okay, so like you have
Get
your
the list
Netflix,
and then we'll order it.
HBO Max.
Yep.
We already talked about that, obviously with The Last of Us.
Yeah, I think that's really strong right now, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Disney Plus,
Yep.
Yeah. You
Apple
have to have
TV
that.
Plus.
Yeah, that's where
we'll
I knew
talk.
I knew
We'll
you were going
talk.
to talk
We'll
about
talk.
it. Apple TV deserves to be on the list. I think
Hulu.
What, for Ted Lasso alone?
No, I'll get there. Hulu,
Amazon Prime Video.
Amazon Prime Video.
I think you get
Do we
paid by
want
Apple.
Crunchyroll on here at all? No. Should I just take it off? Right? You're not a big anime guy. Hulu. Okay. Amazon Prime. Okay.
So
Amazon Prime's on there.
Yeah,
Prime
Video.
Is that good?
There's some originals that are pretty
I
good.
mean, you got your Lord of the Rings,
Man in a High Castle.
Man in the High Castle. You got Untouchable or superhero
Invincible.
Invincible.
Oh my god. Oh, dude, Invincible. Have you seen that?
Isn't Brothers or what's the superhero one?
Jack Ryan's on it. Oh yeah, The Boys.
The Boys.
The
Boys is
Boys.
on there.
Boys is good.
They have some stuff. Like they
There's
have
some good ones.
That so like transparently, that's where my list ends. So like what else do we got? Do we have any?
Can I see that list again
Yeah,
real quick?
Netflix, HBO, Disney, Apple, Hulu, Amazon.
Are we missing one of the bigger ones? It's like on the
Peacock?
outside looking in. you could put down Peacock just for giggles, but I don't think it's going to make anybody's top five.
I would rather give it to Crunchyroll
Yeah.
if that's where we're at. So I'm looking at you guys in terms of like sports stuff. Like
There is no
anything-
sports stuff.
No.
Not that I know of.
The best, yeah, that's a whole different
That's
category.
Hulu has the most.
Best sports streaming service is actually NBC Sports. In terms of apps and stuff, but yeah, that's really it.
Hulu has some live sports stuff. I know
Fox
that there was
is
like
one of the worst.
So
Fox is
you
awful.
do have your Plex, which you can pay for a Plex streaming service.
Yeah, but I don't think it's
The ads are unreal.
Yeah.
How do we feel about like Movies Anywhere or anything like that?
I think at that point
Too
you're
much
starting to,
iTunes?
you're talking more Peacock at that point, like
Okay.
over those, because Peacock, like we were just talking about it with the Harry Potter movies, like they're on Peacock. They do have a fair bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think Peacock NBC shows, like there's a lot to that. I always despised, and we were just talking about like where's the line. I think when you start getting to the point where like everything is locked behind those different streaming services, like, oh, you need CBS All Access or something, or you need Peacock
Yeah,
to
you
watch
need
this.
to get- yeah.
That is when you're starting to talk, okay, well, now I need to pay for a cable bill, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think we have the major online ones.
I mean, that's fairly easy. So we have 6 on here. We only need to take out 1. So out of like we already said, Netflix is going to go on. We don't know where it's going to be, but it's on there.
Yeah.
HBO, Disney Plus, Apple, Hulu, Amazon Prime.
HBO is on there. I think we're all in agreement.
HBO is certainly on there.
I agree with you.
I actually think, and I'd be curious to hear what you guys say, I think Hulu gets booted for me.
So I don't have any particular love of Hulu, especially because we don't pay for like
neither do
the
we.
ad free
Yeah,
one,
and the
so
ads are crazy.
They suck. Chelsea's
Yeah.
fine with it, but I hate them, so I don't do a lot of Hulu anymore. Hulu did see whenever I was looking for a show, and I'm just like, man, where can I find it? It seemed to always be on Hulu, like older shows. So like your Psych, your like I think House was on it. House might have been on Netflix too, but a lot of the anime stuff was on Hulu. A lot of like just random seasons of stuff.
I would tend to agree with you previously.
White Collar was
but
on there.
anymore, I've noticed that it seems like Amazon seems to be getting more and more of the older stuff that like what used to be on Netflix but now isn't. And
Okay.
like it's not so much Amazon versus Hulu. I think that's really where I am. Like it's one of those has to go. But the question is, which one do you think brings the less value?
I will say, me personally, I've gotten more value out of Amazon just in watching watching Lord of the Rings, Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
We just watched the Consultant, which was really good.
Yeah.
With Christoph Waltz. Like, I would go Amazon right now, but that's also recency bias. And like, okay, the last few shows we've watched have all been on Amazon.
That's the way I feel too. But I'm not sure where John's leaning.
I think recency bias plays a part, right? Because it kind of determines the trending
Yeah,
situation
so where they
of
are now, obviously.
So I would go Amazon too. Invincible was really good. I really like that show.
Okay. I'm fine taking out.
I have
Hulu.
like
Chelsea
one
might be
show per
cringing.
streaming service.
That's where she's watching her and
what did we take out? Hulu?
yeah, we took out Hulu.
Yeah. I
She's
am
watching
not
the
because I don't
Grey's
have that.
Anatomy.
I don't have the ad free one either. So I hate. Hulu.
I don't know anybody that pays for Hulu.
Yeah.
because I have my Hulu through like the bundle with
You
Disney
get through
Plus
Spotify.
and-
Or
ESPN
Disney
Plus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you're bombing off someone who is paying for the whole bundle.
Yeah. I think it's my brother's. I don't pay for anything.
So okay, so right now we have Netflix, HBO, Disney Plus. It's Apple TV Plus, right? Is the official
I think it's just
thing?
Apple TV. That's what I would
Apple
call
TV
it,
is their
fine.
system, and then
Apple TV Plus,
whatever.
then that's fine.
Amazon Prime.
Yep.
So those are it. I think Amazon Prime should just be 5 then. If we were about to knock it off between that and Hulu, personally.
Well, I want to hear your defense of Apple.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am.
Okay, Apple is getting more and more content for sure.
Yes.
But the thing is, like, most of their content is very good or nominated for awards and things like that. So just out of the gate, you can't talk to somebody that doesn't like Ted Lasso, right? And I'm not saying that that's the only thing Apple has, but like Ted Lasso needs to be shown. Like that was a very, very, very good show that everybody watched. Everybody was talking about for a thing. Apple did that. You have Jon Stewart that just came on Apple. You have the morning show. You have C. You have Severance. You have The After Party. You have Slow Horses. You have Shrinking.
I don't know any of these shows.
There's a couple. Secession, The Problem with
Exactly.
Jon Stewart. I know of them.
I heard good things about that.
But what I'm saying is, like, all of those are on there where, like, they're all winning awards. And I'm not saying, like, the award shows are the end-all, be-all. But if you were to go and watch any of those things, like, they're all, like, really good. And they're all in Plex if you want to try them out. But
this is the interesting dilemma with doing a ranking like this, because I agree with you. I think in terms of maybe exclusivity aspect and like the content that they are producing themselves, I definitely agree with you that I think Apple's above Amazon now.
They're the new Netflix.
However, how do you value like just sheer amount on the network? Because like you don't go to Apple TV for anything that's like old that you want to watch. They're on one of the major 3, right? So like, how do you value that and what Amazon brings to the table? Where it's like, it's funny enough, like Amazon's always like the go-to. Like if we scroll through Netflix or we scroll through HBO Max and we're like, okay, we're not sure what we're in the mood for, we always go to Amazon. It's like you watch like SpongeBob or like cartoons or like anything like that.
It depends on what you're looking for.
There's a lot of value to that.
It depends if you're the type of person that's like, okay, what are we going to watch? And you naturally sway to, let's just rewatch something.
Yeah.
Then sure, I could see the thing for Amazon. Not that Amazon doesn't have new stuff, but like they are a little bit more like that's where things are going. Mm-hmm. So if you want to watch Friends or whatever. But with Apple, and like if Chelsea and I are like, okay, hey, we finished our show, now we got to find something else to watch. We've been going to Apple where it's like, all right, let's just see some new show that we're going to check out and see if it's any good. Honestly, we were just watching it's like Something to the Moon or something about like a con artist that's like selling people plots of land on the moon. And it's this like, it's basically Fallout style thing where it's like the 1920s-esque look, but they're all like robots everywhere and stuff. It's bizarre.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's neat. And that's my least favorite show that we've watched on Apple that they've put out, but it's still like good enough to keep going with it, where it's like it's interesting enough that's like, okay, I'll keep going. But the thing is, Apple just raised the price. So it's $7. You get everything, that you get with Apple, but it's like there's a lot of good stuff on here. Like Tom Hanks has 2 movies on there that you can't get anywhere else. Like they're getting these high level actors too. It's not just like,
but is it still just a little bit too early to say, okay, it's better than Amazon Prime Video? That's, I think, my point. I agree with you. The price is important there too. $7 isn't.
Well, yeah.
terrible.
How much is Amazon? 20? Like you have to pay for Prime.
Well, technically, you would get it free with Prime. So then, how
Prime's
do you just
$20?
$20 a month?
Yeah, isn't it 19 something?
I think it's
$17.99, $18.99, something
I think
like
it's like $100 some a year. So what that's?
Okay, fair enough. Maybe I'm just being the jerk doing the monthly fee. But what I guess what I'm saying is like, you're right. How do you split the difference on that? With me, it's like, what does Amazon bring to the table? I guess like maybe like new, like Jack Ryan and The Boys are like, I guess The Consultant.
Man in the High Castle is still very good too.
When was the last time they came out with it?
It's been a little bit, but that was like its original, like, that was the exclusive that got them on the map.
Is it better than Ted Lasso?
Oh no.
Okay,
but that's like Ted Lasso's best thing. Like you could say, like most people would probably say Amazon's best thing is probably The Boys. I never actually saw The Boys yet, but I know that it's very highly regarded.
I didn't even mention what was the one where they go to space for Mars, For All Mankind. Like that show is amazing.
Yeah, I know of it.
I
don't know.
It's tough, man. I don't know.
But are you saying that Apple is 4 on your list, regardless?
Personally,
Yeah.
no, it'd be higher.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
so how about this? Let's come together and put Disney at the bottom.
No, I think Disney's shows
Fuck
are
Disney. Done.
Disney shows are showing promise. You were just talking so much about Andor. How are you going to put Disney at 5 now?
Andor's great, but that's
Disney,
one show. Like that's what I'm saying. Is
Disney is clearly better than Amazon Prime Video. Let's be honest.
I mean, look, man. If you, I'm fine with that. I think out of this, Amazon is my least favorite out of all of them.
Yeah, and you could maybe argue. I think for me personally, where my ranking is, Amazon's either 5 or 4.
Yeah.
And the question is what do you do about Apple TV? Apple TV shows a lot of good promise. I completely agree with you. You love a lot of the shows that are on there. I love Ted Lasso, but for me, the only reason I pay for Apple TV is for Ted Lasso when it comes on.
Yeah, but that's crazy, right? Like it's like, hey, I'm gonna pay for a streaming service to watch this one. But the thing is, like,
it's the only one that I'm not concurrently subscribed to. However, technically, I'm not. Yeah,
technically, you're part of my family.
I'm part of the family plan, but that would be the one that, like, if I had to lose one, so like we pay for Netflix ourselves. I think we do borrow Disney Plus of a login. Amazon, you get through Prime, so it's not a problem for that one. Anything else is like, do we really need it? And that's where it's like, if I wasn't on your family plan, would I really pay concurrently $7 for all of Apple TV shows? I would say no. Would I do it for Ted Lasso because I love Ted Lasso? Yes, but the moment that Ted Lasso is done, I'd probably be unsubscribing like I did in the first season.
But have you tried any other?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, man.
I'm not as well versed on it as you, and this is what going into this, I knew this is what we were going to debate. Like we were always going to debate where is Apple TV in this grand scheme of things. But I mean, John, what do you think? I don't know. You can be the tiebreaker, you know.
Disney 5, dude. Fuck Disney.
Why is that though?
Andor is probably the worst show I've ever seen, if I'm being honest.
My God.
It's terrible, boring. Like episode 1 is probably better if I had to.
So no Mandalorian.
No, I watched Mandalorian up until the Ewok
Loki
episode, not the Ewok, the Jawa episode. I was like, dude, I love about Jawas.
WandaVision, Loki.
Loki was great. I loved Loki.
That's what I mean. It's like
Loki's
there's a lot of Disney has a lot of good.
I've stopped watching Marvel though, dude. I don't give a fuck about Marvel anymore. The only reason Disney definitely isn't 5 is because they have like Aladdin and
all the classics.
All the classics.
Yeah.
So.
And I think like for me, like
if it was up to me, Apple TV would be 5. I don't know any of those shows besides Ted Lasso, and I could take or leave Ted Lasso. I don't really care about it.
Oof. I'm making the argument. Look, if I'm getting ganged up on, then that's totally fine. We'll put it at 5. I just think that Apple TV has put out more solid content, like good acting, good stories, like super interesting stuff with high caliber actors than Amazon or Disney or anything like that.
I see where you're coming from on the Amazon topic, but again, I think for me, it's also that a little added element that like Amazon's getting a lot of the older stuff as well.
If you guys
edge of it, I think Apple TV is certainly on the right track. Like I'm talking, if you give it like a few more years and more developments of exclusives, they're going to be, at the top of the list.
They're winning everything.
They are growing quite rapidly, but I still think it's just a little too soon for me to put them in like above an Amazon who's been, most people would say Amazon would be like top 3 until Disney came around. So like that's the part where it's hard for me to.
All right. I feel like you guys got a lot of love for Amazon. All right. Now we'll put Apple at 5 in the interest of time due to timing. Apple can be 5. So then we're saying Amazon's 4?
Yeah. I think it's clear.
Yeah. All right. Apple 5, Amazon 4. And now between Netflix, HBO, and Disney.
Number 3 is Disney for me.
Yeah, Disney 3.
Okay.
And now here's the interesting thing.
Netflix too.
I agree with that.
I actually think HBO is still 2.
Wow, what? I feel like Netflix has gone way downhill from where it started.
I am not denying that at all. Netflix is not what they used to be. They lost their fastball a bit, and I still think they're searching for it. However,
that's a baseball reference, Tyler.
HBO Max, besides The Last of Us, besides Game of Thrones, House of Dragons,
Succession,
Industry,
Harlequin.
I don't know.
Harley
I don't
Quinn
know
season 2 is
industry
not
or Harley
I agree,
Quinn.
but-
Yeah. But
season 3 isn't.
my
too
point
so
is
good.
when you think of every viral thing that has ever come out that everyone is watching these past few years, you think it's Netflix. It's Tiger King. It's, the documentary series on Netflix.
Was Squid Game Netflix?
Squid Game was Netflix too. Arcane.
He's right,
Netflix.
dude. When
Peaky
Netflix drops a
Blinders.
bomb,
Yeah.
dude, it takes over the world.
Everybody
It's
watches
crazy.
the originals, and
But
it's not
HBO
even.
Max kind of drops some heavy hitters
They
too.
do,
though.
yeah. And I would say HBO Max. What HBO Max is doing so well is the drama style show that necessarily
Euphoria
Netflix,
is on HBO Max, right?
Yes, I think. No,
Yeah, I think it
Yes,
was.
yes.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like the drama style show HBO Max
Like
is
Last
is
of Us,
nailed.
huge.
The Last
Curb
was
Your
huge.
Enthusiasm.
Curb.
Yeah.
Sopranos. You should watch Sopranos. Even the Harry Potter special. That was like a big thing for
Friends
a lot of
special.
people. Friends special. That was like a huge.
I think it's,
huge thing
for me. It's like you have these two in a class above their own right now compared to the others.
I think HBO pulls in because now you're pulling in all the DC stuff. Now you're pulling in like the well, I guess Harry Potter's off now, but like HBO is also getting the rights to a lot of that stuff. Where Netflix seems to be like in my RSS feed, it's always like, oh, here's what's leaving Netflix or whatever, and here like because it's like all the stuff that Netflix hoarded. Now that everybody has their own streaming service, they're just losing rights left and right, and like.
But I think Mike's point is they're still, because they were on top solely, right? Mm-hmm. And they're trending downwards, but they still have retained enough.
But their price is going up.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like if you're talking that kind of stuff.
I don't even know what HBO Max is by itself.
$15
$15
with
per month
no
by
ads.
itself.
They have like a $10 version with ads.
Now,
I
the
think.
one thing that I will say, if you're going from a value perspective, I'm pretty sure almost anybody who has AT&T gets HBO for free now.
Think about all the
I don't pay a dime for HBO Max.
But think about all the movies that came out on HBO.
No,
Like,
that's
you know
what I'm
what I mean?
saying.
Like, it's just like-
it's severe.
But like day one, where it's like, oh, hey, here,
Yeah.
that wasn't day one, but like, here's your Top Gun. Here's your, they dropped the Mortal Kombat thing during the pandemic. They like, here you go. Like, what was Dune came on for a while, where it's just like, I don't know, man. It's just like, there's a lot of value there. And again, this is all subjective because this is what we're watching. So it is what it is. It's just like, everything on Netflix that I'm watching is just not. It's not the to the caliber of Stranger Things and those type of things.
I think for drama, yes, I think they've lost it a little bit. But the thing that Netflix does so well, they do documentaries so well. They do comedies. They basically
comedy specials are
I
big.
think comedy specials, like literally, they're the only ones doing that approach. Like they've basically killed. They've cornered the entire stand-up market.
But has any of them
whose
been like
comedy
good?
special just came out?
Bert
Chris
Kreischer.
Rock.
Or Chris Rock.
Was that Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was
they're all
huge.
Netflix.
That was huge.
Bert
right?
Kreischer, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle,
Yeah.
like they're all
That's
on
a good.
Netflix.
That's a really good point, actually.
Nobody
all on Netflix.
else is doing that,
Right.
And that is something that I think you can't
a
can't
whole-
forget about with Netflix, where it's like it's usually when especially like documentaries. Like we just watched the Murdoch series and stuff. So it was like there's a lot to Netflix besides just the drama originals, and I completely agree. I think HBO and even Apple TV, I would say, are catching up in the drama original style shows.
Yeah.
But I think Netflix still has such a head start on the Stranger Things of the worlds and like the exclusivities.
Do they still get all the BBC stuff, or is that heading
Yes.
more HBO? Isn't Doctor Who on HBO, or is that
Doctor
Amazon?
Who is now on Amazon, I want to say.
Is it?
I think so. Maybe it's
I
either
thought it went back to
Amazon or
HBO.
HBO. It switches so
No,
much.
it used to be HBO, but I'm 90% sure the newest Doctor we started watching on HBO. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
But I think like obviously like Peaky Blinders is still exclusive, and it's not just. I think
Yeah, I
it
think
might
it's good.
just be Doctor Who. Like Sherlock was exclusive to Netflix. Not that
Yeah.
Sherlock's coming back anytime soon. They certainly. What I will say is Netflix has to be careful in the short term future, because I think everybody's gunning for them, and they're certainly losing, like I said, that momentum
All
that
the
they've
Lord
been
of the
building
Rings are on
on.
HBO now, aren't they?
I thought they were Amazon since they have Rings of Power.
The new TV show, but I'm pretty sure that they still have all the, because like I think all the Hobbit and everything are
I'd be
on there.
shocked if Amazon wouldn't decide, okay, we're going to pay for the movies too for exclusivity.
I think it's on HBO, right?
I think it was whenever we saw. I mean, that was what, a year ago, so my
pulled up
my move.
Yeah, here I'll pull up HBO Max. But I think, like, to your point, like, actually, like, White Lotus was another one that was a very good drama that was on HBO Max too, that we have to point out. But I think it's like, for me, it's very close between 1 and 2, but I still give that edge to Netflix because of everything else, like the total like documentary and comedy, all that stuff gives it a slight edge over HBO.
I mean, I don't want to pull the Couch Company card. What are you feeling?
I think Mike
swayed?
made good points.
Oh
I kind of with him, dude. The comedy thing got me. Like the variety that they have.
I agree with you guys. I haven't seen a
the animated
good
series on HBO.
Lord of the Rings
Is
movies.
Batman the animated series on HBO?
Absolutely is. That's why I said all the WB.
Lord of the
properties.
Rings is
Like
on
this shit.
HBO Max as well, by the way. Right now.
I'm very torn. I don't know. You guys decide.
My whole thing is. I agree with you, the comedy stuff, but also I haven't. I
But
can't
he was
remember
talking about the
last time-
documentaries too, and
Yeah, but even that, like aside from Tiger King, I guess the Pepsi one that you were talking about, and like
Pepsi Where's My Jet.
that
even
comedy
even the
one,
goofy, Kunk on Earth.
I started watching that.
What did you think of it? Because John hated it.
I watched maybe like the first 10 minutes because I watch it whenever I'm sleeping. So like I'll watch it and I'll just pass out. I loved like the first 10 minutes I watched of it.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
Delivery and everything about it. It is so funny.
She's
It's
great.
like that dry like humor tied in with history.
Saying like ridiculous things, but like monotone and not dwelling on it is like a stand-up thing. Just like completely false stuff, and then just keeps going.
I was shocked when John reported back. He's like, it's just not for us. Like I was like, really? To me, it seemed like right up his alley for humor.
Yeah.
And I think it was like we were just really bored one night. We put it on and me and Miranda were like cracking up where it's just a delivery. It's like that dry British, like office like humor. Because I think she was in the original Office with the British version.
What?
That's
maybe.
like her shtick. Like she does this very well and she kills it. Where like she's interviewing like these historians and she's like, so who was Jesus anyway? Or it's like it was like the one that like it's just the goofy stuff. It's like what? So Galileo's full name was Galileo Galilei, like from Bohemian Rhapsody, Scott Mamouche.
God.
And like this guy's like, no,
Is that a clip that I saw from that where she was talking about Street Fighter?
It was all over. Like,
oh no, she always references Pump Up the Jam. She's like, it was the biggest hit. Like the wheel was the greatest invention since the '90s Belgian hot hit Pump Up the Jam, and it cuts to the music video. It's like, pump the jam, pump it up. And it's like it's the running gag where it's like every episode it's dropped in, but it is just it's perfect. Like every time it comes up, me and Miranda just like laugh a little bit harder after every episode. Where it's like, all right, we're gonna stop talking about the French Revolution. Now we're gonna talk about Pump Up the Jam for a bit.
A natural segue.
Yeah, but. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, it's Netflix 1, HBO Max 2, and I think it's very close. You can make arguments both ways, but I think overall well-roundedness and, like I said, that kind of like mainstream phenomenon that Netflix has captured so well with more of the documentary series, it seems, just how many bangers they put out in that category. It's hard to top that.
all right.
Tyler does not feel good about this. He feels sick looking at this list.
Tyler's
like
fuming.
It's like
Feels absolutely
Tell you what,
sick.
if you really want, we'll move Apple TV to 4.
I know, like the only thing that I could see at this point, I would put Disney at 5.
Ooh.
Which is
said that from the beginning.
Which is a rough thing. Yeah.
Remember how he was talking about Andor and how great this was and all these shows?
Yeah, Andor's great, but
I guarantee
there's
I
a
hate
difference
Andor
where
if
like
I watch it. Guaranteed.
I'm sure you. Yeah.
Guaranteed.
No, we can. Okay, so we'll chisel this in, and I'll just chalk this up to a top 5 list that I lost.
Yeah, take the L. This
So
wasn't
then-
my fault though. You can't count this against me.
No,
You can't say, "Oh, I give it to you this."
Sorry, I just brought the
No,
heat.
you
know?
make good arguments. I
could go either way as well. I mean,
I'm looking at it quality wise.
Netflix has dropped some bombs.
Netflix has, but I think Netflix is. I'm fine giving it to number one, but I think every one of these are on their heels, where it's like another year from now or something, where it's like
it could swing that way.
But I think Apple's won
for me recently in terms of surprise and delight.
Oh my!
I think you're making that decision.
No, I think Apple's 2 and HBO is 1.
I think you're making a decision solely on just new original content.
Yeah.
Where I don't think you have to factor into quantity aspect too.
Yeah, and that's fair. It's just like, and maybe this is because if I'm looking at it holistically, right? And if I'm like, okay, Amazon Prime is for the old stuff, or Netflix is for like the documentaries or whatever, and it's just like, if I want something new, like net new, Apple, and maybe this is just because Apple is smaller and because it's a little bit more curated, where it's like their app is good. They have such a good, like, here's what you want to look at. Oh, you want to look for stuff by this actor or whatever. I don't know. Like
I knew
it's
the
fine.
app design would factor.
Well, no.
This.
It's just we have not been disappointed with Apple yet.
Well, I think a lot of it is
$7.
Yeah, prices.
I think
how much is Netflix compared to HBO?
I swear Netflix is, I mean, I can
Netflix for a HD family plan, like Ultra
the
HD
4K,
4K is like $20 a month.
Yeah. Okay, so I was going to say 19.
Yeah, so it's $19.99 a month.
Like, that's a factor, right? Like,
it's very
the price is going up, and I don't.
Is that worth it over HBO? That's the question.
So that's the thing. I can't say because I don't pay $15 for HBO. I have AT&T. I have it for free. And even with that being said, I don't pay a dime for HBO Max more than I do like a normal phone bill.
Well, then
I think
wouldn't HBO go up then?
If it depends on where you rank the value of that. I mean,
I think value is an important factor.
But if you're using that, I technically don't pay a dime for Amazon Prime Video because I pay for Prime anyway for its different factors, like the 2-day free shipping and all that stuff. So it's like, if you're going to play that game,
shilling Amazon here.
Yeah, if you're going to play that game, you're going to have to bump. Like, there's no way in hell Apple TV would be better than Amazon.
I thought Apple TV should have been 5. That was my opinion.
I know, but that's my point. Is like, it depends on where you rank value, and how that is. I don't want to consider those like roundabout ways of doing it.
But that's how people watch this stuff. How is that not something that should be factored?
Most people are using Netflix as their main subscription, and they're getting the others through various ways.
That doesn't mean it's good value, though. That just means
clearly is. It's just the one that people are willing to pay.
Means the sheep.
No, that means you have to pay for Netflix. There's no value to Netflix.
Well,
it's just you get crushed by that bill, and then you have options in other places.
What I will be interested about is because there's a lot of talk with Netflix about the password sharing and stuff. That's
what are they doing with that, by the way?
So they implemented it in some countries, but they basically force you to list a primary residence. So if you, and they haven't said if this is how it's going to be in the US, it's going to really suck if they do. And I think a lot of people are going to cancel in that case. You list the primary residence and you have, I think it's 30 days at a secondary residence. Anything more than 30, or maybe it's 60, one of those two. Any more than 30 to 60 days, you have to basically pay for a new subscription or change that to your primary residence. So who does that really fuck over? College students.
Well,
anybody who's living on campus, and like their mom's paying for like their Netflix on a primary residence. If they do that in the US, it's going to be fucking like it's going to be a bloodbath.
That's what Spotify does. So Spotify does that as well, where they essentially track your IP address more or less. Mm-hmm. They ping it, and you have to do it that way.
So what if you have a VPN?
I don't know.
That was another question that was brought up. I don't know how they handle that. I don't know how they
VPN. The problem I have with it is, unless they changed it very recently, Netflix, the quote unquote perks that I'm getting, and we're running over, so I got to wrap it up. But like the way that they have it is, you have 4 accounts that can watch simultaneously, and then you have your 4K, and then you have your, I don't know, HD or whatever it is. But like the thing is, if you're telling me how many accounts can watch this simultaneously, then I don't care where they are. I'm paying for that feature.
Yeah.
Right, now, if you want them all to be like a family plan or on the same thing, fine. Then you lower the price to 15, and then we'll talk.
Yeah,
but
I think it's to be seen how they determine it in the U.S. because I don't think what works in like say Canada, and I think it was Canada, Spain, and a couple other small countries
like laws to prohibiting
that. You know, it might be completely different in the U.S. But that's something to watch because if it's something as strict as that, I mean, the subscriptions are going to tank for Netflix. And then it's like, well, then what does Netflix do?
Yeah, no, you don't have like money to
invest. Because they always say, oh, well, this show's so expensive. Like the one that always hurt was Mindhunter was very good. Mindhunter, I would have loved to see played out fully. And they just said it's too expensive of a show for too small of a following. And I think that's crazy because that's probably the one that Netflix has canceled abruptly where I'm like, what were you thinking?
I mean, that's their MO, dude. I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the only one, but it's always a funny
startup
conversation. What shows have Netflix canceled that they shouldn't have, or
quite a bit.
Yeah,
quite a few. Whatever Netflix you wanted. Number
for
one.
Now.
All right, bro. Number 5 we have Apple. Number 4 is Amazon Prime. Number 3 is Disney Plus. Number 2 is HBO Max. Number 1 is Netflix by a hair. Chiseled in. We're done.
Chiseled. All right, that's it.
That's it.
Thanks for coming on, Mike.
Yeah, pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Appreciate the hot takes.
Hey, I have a gift for you for being on the show. Here is $100 to wine. There you go. You're welcome.
Wait, that's real.
That's real. Yeah.
This is real. What? Just for coming on the show, I feel like there's more of a hidden feature behind this.
Yeah, you have to pay $160 in wine. You get $100 off.
Oh man!
We
almost got a line of people
Mike got
coming
really
on the show
for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy. No, that just
get
that
$100 off any case of wine priced at $160 or
Yeah.
more. So you buy $60 worth to get $100 off.
Yeah,
that's actually a very
it's
good
not
deal.
bad.
It's a good deal.
Yeah. It's
not as good as $100 free.
I'm stocked full of
okay,
wine right
look,
now.
man,
So
you have to
when
redeem
does
it in
this
30
expire?
days. I think you have a 30-day window.
God damn it. Okay.
Anyways,
I'm gonna get
anyway,
a wine
yeah,
fridge.
yeah, all right. So Mike's gonna get a wine cellar, and we will see you on the next episode. Thanks for joining us on the couch. Peace.